Alexis of Memphis. Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
We are off and rolling. Welcome in Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022 edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. Family Leisure, we're family and fun. Come together. I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Make sure you follow me because tonight, after we get the announcement of the college football playoff rankings, it's my first week where I will put together a thread of all of my complaints. Make sure you follow that handle again, G_Kuhn71. Producing the program is Bryant Dacus on Twitter at Bryant_Dacus, writer for Our Team Memphis. You can follow Our Team Memphis at Our Team Memphis on Twitter. Bryant, how are you doing, man?
Gabe, I'm doing good, and I just learned this last night, and I'm so upset that I didn't know it for yesterday's show. Congratulations to the Toronto Argonauts for winning the Canadian Football League. 3 Tigers on that team.
DeMonte Coxie. We have Trayvon Tate. I'm missing one. Who's the third?
I can't find who it is. McManus, maybe?
Witten
McManus,
yeah, and
that's
Witten
right.
McManus was also a All-Canadian Football League performer this year.
Also quarterback for the Argonauts?
Sure was. Who?
Chad Kelly.
And that's when we bring in Brett. Pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He's Brett Stats Norsworthy on Twitter at Brett Norsworthy. Did you know about the Grey Cup, Brett? Did you know that Chad Kelly was a champion?
Good afternoon, Gabe. I did. I watched the last 6 minutes of the Grey Cup on Sunday afternoon. Chad Kelly came in bringing all the Tigers and Ole Miss fans together for the Grey Cup.
Shout out. Toronto Argonauts.
What a great unification. I always knew Chad Kelly would be the great unifier.
I didn't.
I don't know. Step back for a second. Let's step back for a half second. But
already a good day. We got Louisville 0-4 and down 30.
They're awful. They're
Isn't
not
it great?
even competitive.
Super.
They're not even competitive. They lost.
So let me ask you the propriety of something. When I do Rebels in the NFL on post-game Thursday night, should I mention Rebels in the CFL?
You got to do a Rebels in the CFL.
Grey Cup champion. And by the way, Trayvon Tate, always sending well wishes to my guy. Played next to him at the University of Memphis, dealing with an ACL comeback right now.
All three of those guys were injured.
But got his Grey Cup champion, and I know he gets the bonus. So that's the biggest part
that's all that
of
matters.
this whole thing. And he's a champion. That's always fun as well.
Did y'all see the weather at it?
No. Cold?
Snowy?
It said, little man, it was cold at Alabama and at Fayetteville. Here's your cold.
Did you see the cold? I didn't see the actual temperature.
Oh, it was bitter. It was brutal.
Teens?
It's
below?
Canada.
Yeah, it is Canada. It is in the north, and we're headed into
cold
winter.
there since 4th of July.
No, I get it. I just didn't know.
I bet those two nice days a year are really something up there.
Warm and toasty for them at this point in the year is like right there at freezing or a little bit below, like somewhere between 20 and 32. That is warm. That is
There's
toasty.
no prayer I could live in that.
Yeah.
There's just no prayer.
Yeah,
I would never get used to it, and the right socks, and the right heater, and the right firewood splitter. No.
Don't you have your new pair of socks? They're newfangled?
They work great. When I wasn't exposed to the cold as much on the road because we do so much in the press box as I am like at the Grove, but I'm outside most of the fourth quarter, and I was dressed really, really, really extra right at Fayetteville. I did not get cold at all, and the new socks really worked.
Shout out. Wool? They're wool, right?
Yeah, they are wool, and they were expensive. They are. I'm going to need to wear them in the middle of the
summer.
summer.
Does Carhartt make a pair of wool socks? Where did we get the wool socks?
What was the brand? I'd have to check. But I got them packed for Columbus on Saturday.
Okay, that's going to be a good time. That's going to be a great
time. But it doesn't look bitterly
excited?
cold.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Okay.
But I'm excited. I got to get the egg. I got to get through the Egg Bowl first. And, first things first, priorities, but then very excited about the whole trip. Can't wait on Friday to go to the Jack Nicklaus Museum on the campus at Ohio State.
Haven't asked you fellas about your obviously I know your Thanksgiving plans, Brett. You're a little tied up, Ryan. Do you have anything good planned for Thursday? Just family?
I'll be up here doing some Ole Miss basketball.
Are they gonna bring you a meal or anything?
No, I mean we'll do like a middle afternoon thing.
Okay, I got you.
We're very low key.
Are y'all how do y'all prefer your Thanksgiving meal? Middle of the day, dinner?
I mean, I'll eat any time of the day. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I'll eat about any time.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to Richard and Jane Cross's early during the day, and he's having quite a spread, and he knows my feelings about the about the Pilgrims. Why didn't they kill a cow? And he's doing some tenderloin.
That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very nice.
I'm a prime rib on Christmas type of guy. I like
our
the prime
tenderloin,
rib. Yeah, something like that.
I want red beef. on Christmas.
Yeah.
Shrimp.
Yeah. 100%. Now, first off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. On the show today, guess-wise, 3:30, Dave Woloshin will join us, voice of the Tigers. We're going to have to also talk about the bracket in Orlando for the ESPN Events Invitational, and we'll talk about what the Tigers need to do. Also, I am one who last night watched the Maui Invitational, and obviously Arizona ended up beating Cincinnati 101-93. Cincinnati made it look good with a 10-0 run, by the way. And by the way, great cover. Just a special cover last night. 10-0 run and 130 to go get the cover at 9.5.
Nice.
And guess who had the plus?
Yes, you did.
Yours truly. And I have two thumbs. If you're watching us on our live stream.
I'll 2 thumbs for that too.
Yeah, that was
Guess
fantastic.
who didn't plan on 2 walk-ons coming in and hitting back-to-back threes? This guy, who also has 2 thumbs.
Yeah, I hear you. But Landers Nolly last night, 33 points, 9 for 14 from 3. I couldn't help but watch that game and just think about how much the Tigers missed that type of shooting, and we'll talk about that.
How much do they miss Cisse?
Cisse? Yeah. A little depth would be very nice to have, but Musa, I think they miss Jalen Duren a lot more than Musa.
Well, Duren had plenty of incentive for it. His move.
I get it.
He's having a good year on a bad team.
Yeah. Well, that team is a year away from being a year away, right? I mean, that's just
at least
what the Detroit Pistons are. I mean, it just is what it is. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard will join us, talk some college football from First Coast News in Jacksonville. We're going to come off the top of the show with some more, another chapter in the Lane Kiffin to Auburn talk and a faulty supposed report that Lane has responded to on Twitter. And we'll talk to Brent about that as well. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant will join us, talk some NFL. I want to cover everything because the 49ers last night in Mexico City hammer the Cardinals. And the Cardinals didn't have much of a chance, but 38-10. And Jimmy G looks like an all-star. He looks like an all-pro with Christian McCaffrey. Catching some check downs out of the backfield, and George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. So yeah, he's got some weapons and a good O-line and a good
roster
defense.
We've raved about, and what your guy was doing at tackle last night for the Niners.
Trent.
Oh man,
he's 30.
Bowling ball.
Brett, he's 34 years old. Like that's not normal.
He looks like the video that you see on Twitter of the little kid running over everybody in the little dump truck. Tricycle thing.
Right. Like the little tiny Jeep that they buy for Christmas for the kid.
And
he's
just
running over all
little
his
kids in the
friends.
backyard.
Exactly.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment. Also with the NBA, we have Grizzlies versus the Kings in FedEx Forum tonight. And good news, great news. It wasn't week to week. It looks like Ja is questionable for tonight. And he had a quote today that's pretty hilarious about his healing power. We'll talk about that. And Ben Simmons returned to Philly. You think it'll be you think they'll pat him on the back and tell him everything's okay tonight?
No, it'll be everything, every invective, and it will be brutal.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. But he's actually playing better, and we'll have a little bit on that.
They are.
Well. Talk about crunch time, of course, at 5:45 when we get out of here. Listen line 901-360-8255. You can watch us live and message us on our socials, Sports56WHBQ on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And go to our website, sports56WHBQ.com. All right, another chapter in the Lane Kiffin to Auburn madness. John Sokoloff, who is from WCBI News. He's the sports director covering Mississippi State, Ole Miss, high school sports. Mostly, I mean, he really sticks around Starkville. But it's at a station in North Mississippi, covers West Alabama. He tweeted last night, breaking, Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin plans to step down as the Rebels coach Friday and head to Auburn to become the Tigers' next head coach, according to industry sources, is what he says. Lane Kiffin then quote tweets it and responds, "That's news to me, John. Nice sources." Then he puts out another tweet of a write-up of some. He tried to make a fake release about John Sokoloff stepping down and
Everybody
going
has
to
that
another dude. Brett, I'm just going to ask you straight up, what do you make of this? What are your thoughts on Lane's plans here in the near future?
I think we'll hear some. If we don't hear something pretty definitively tomorrow, the happy announcement from the official university Twitter account or from Coach Lane Kiffin's account or from Keith Carter's account, and then I think Ole Miss fans should be worried. I'm not at all until we get past maybe about this point tomorrow afternoon. So we'll be on there. If we haven't had it by then, I don't know that we're going to get it, but there's a lot of jockeying. There's a lot of rumor. I'm going to get to it in my top story. I don't know John Sokoloff. And I tell you what I don't want to do to him. I don't want to do to him. I don't want to play the who's he and where's that marketplace.
Yeah, right.
Because you know what? There's a lot of big places that could do that to us. New York, Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, all could play that game on little old bitty Memphis. I don't want to do that to him. I would imagine it's a guy that's probably trying to get the story accurately. It looks like he definitely wants to be first, and I bet he's hard working. And I don't know him at all, and I don't want to pound him.
He does a good job with a lot of Mississippi State news, State of Mississippi news. Like he's again a sports director at WCBI News, a CBS affiliate in that area. I will say, as you normally say in these situations, he's either going to be right or wrong. We'll see. But I'll say for Lane Kiffin, if he puts this out and says, that's news to me, nice sources, yada, 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 and then on Friday there's a press conference about him leaving for Auburn.
John Sokoloff wins.
I don't think that's a great look for Lane Kiffin. I don't think he much cares when it comes to his Twitter and how he uses it. But it is what it is. Now, on the discussion of should he leave for Auburn, should he stay at Ole Miss, the one thing that still – there's a couple things. One, I don't think Auburn was who he envisioned as his final destination as a head football coach. I still think that's Alabama. Two,
but that's over if he goes there.
Here's my biggest question about him taking the Auburn job and how he could sort of do in that position. I think he's a great football coach. I really do. I think he's done a really good job at Ole Miss, and it's proven in his offense. He's able to recruit a good way. I think he'd be able to do that with more NIL money at Auburn. The boosters are more involved, but that's where the question comes in. Boosters are a lot more involved at Auburn. And I think I need to sort of put this out to you and just ask this question a little bit on Ole Miss's front. How cozy, I guess is the word I want to use. How cozy is he with the movers and shakers in Oxford at the moment? I know winning will make you cozy with anybody.
Good question.
But how cozy is he with the boosters at Ole Miss?
Enough. I've seen Ole Miss coaches much more cozier, and I haven't seen many icier. Now, in fairness, let's remember when he came in. When he got the job, COVID immediately hit, and everybody's whole world was kind of frozen. And that time that you kind of endear yourself and you get to know them, that was lost. And then football happened, and then we got into 2021, and it happened, and Sugar Bowl happened, and everybody was pleased. So it wasn't a real courtship. Lane Kiffin honeymoon has never ended at Ole Miss. It is not. Right. He is still on it. That's rare to say 3 years in. But on this front, I want everybody to kind of get on the record. I want Auburn fan. I don't want any last second he stays or he doesn't go to Auburn, and then we get a whole bunch of jive of we really didn't ever want him.
Yeah, no, that's not.
We found out the super top secret dossier on him, and look, everything about Lane Kiffin's out there, and eyes wide open, clear out there.
Right.
And this the story, the reporting by some, and some of it. Is not really reporting. A lot of it is very promotional type, but some of it is that he had 2 Zoom interviews with Auburn, and then Hugh Freeze had Zoom interviews with Auburn. Gabe, what are you asking Lane Kiffin on a Zoom interview? You don't know. You're asking him his hobbies. You know what do you like to read, Chaucer or Dante?
Here's the other thing. Both of those guys, the book's out. You know what they are. There should be no questions really behind the scenes about who you're getting.
Are you asking him, what was your favorite grandparent?
Right? Like
what in the hell would you be asking him on a Zoom interview?
Him and Hugh. Like what really, I mean, I guess Hugh and Lane for the same. I mean, you'd ask, like, have you changed? They have to show that though more than they tell you that.
If John Cohen doesn't know those two, who in the world would?
That's a great point. And I always wonder when they interview these big name candidates, like what really is the conversation? Like, what really are we talking about?
Do you know better than to wear a black belt with brown shoes?
Yeah, I don't know what those conversations are about. But when it comes to that booster question I ask it for a reason. Because Ole Miss, I think the money movers and shakers are going to be a lot less involved with a successful head coach. Now at Auburn,
they'll give him a blank check.
At Auburn, you have to be cozy, right? Like, you have to go and make friends with those people to make sure that you're on good standing at all times.
And what if it follows? What if it parallels the last time Auburn got a head coach from Ole Miss, 1998? And I want you to know that, and it more than doubled his salary. Tommy Tuberville went from $450,000 to $975,000, and that was unheard of money. It was insane money, Gabe.
Yep.
I mean, people couldn't. Almost $1 million for a football coach. That's been to the Music City Bowl. I mean,
at a higher learning institution, I can't believe it.
I mean, I was here on these airwaves, and I remember it like it was yesterday. But if it follows the very same path of Tommy Tuberville, and I'm not going to get to live to see it, but you guys would. Man, I hope y'all enjoy United States Senator Lane Kiffin someday.
That would be interesting.
How great would that be for that joint?
That would be
Lane Kiffin to roll up in the Senate.
I don't know.
I hope he would wear the horns the idiot had on Jan 6.
I would really love former football coaches to stay out of the Senate, but hey, that's my opinion.
No, Gabe, please. The day he's sworn in the United States Senate, thank old Brett that day. It will be beautiful. It'll be great that day. It'll be one fine day.
But for Lane, that's the only question I really have. I know what he can do on the field. I know he can turn out 9-win, 10-win seasons at Auburn.
And we know off the field's cleaned up and good.
Yes.
And I'm going to say the same thing if he takes the job. He has shown it. He has delivered for Ole Miss on and off the field.
And I know
he has been great to be around and work for.
Right, and he's left that job in a great spot for if he does leave, somebody else would be willing to take it. I just have that same question. Is the grass greener at Auburn? Yeah, they have more money, but how much in the way of control are you giving up for more money and an NIL collective? Because at Ole Miss right now, with all due respect, he's calling the shots. Like, he's the guy. He gets his way.
It's his football program.
He gets his way, right?
On anything, travel, diet, budget,
at
recruiting.
Auburn, what would that look like? Would they give him freedom to move? We've seen in the history of how they hire and fire and deal with coaches. It's not always as cozy as some of those coaches make it look. And also, I just want to use Gus Malzahn as another example. 8-4, 9-3, an appearance in the BCS National Championship didn't save him in the end. There was a coup in the end for a guy who had gotten you to heights. Pretty substantial heights.
The second coup at Auburn. There was a coup for Tuberville with Bobby Petrino.
So I just want to point that out. I think Lane can be successful wherever he goes, but there's certain questions about behind the scenes. I wonder how he'd handle that at Auburn. But I certainly think Auburn would be a fine place for him to land. I think he'd be successful.
Happy Thanksgiving from Lexus of Memphis, our title sponsor of this hour, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them for any service inquiry at 901-334-9673. Great offers on the remaining 2022 models and always great offers on the 23s that are rolling in and special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 22 or 23 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design. That makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
That's what is going to happen. What's going to occur 7 o'clock tonight at FedEx Forum. It's Grizzlies versus the red hot, white hot, whatever you want to call them. They are hot right now. 6-game winning streak. The 9-6 Sacramento Kings with a lot of talent. I mean, we look at what they have on that roster. They've been scoring a whole lot of points. Just look at the 6-game winning streak, 127, 120, 122, that outlier there against the Nets, 153, 130 against the Spurs, 137 against the Pistons. It's going to be a massive test at home for this Grizzlies team who beat this team earlier in the year when they were not clicking on all cylinders. But there's a lot of guys on that Kings roster: Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, Kevin Huerter's been shooting the ball lights out this year. De'Aaron Fox, Terrence Davis has shown up, Malik Monk. They have a lot of talent on that roster that can certainly put a hurt on the Grizzlies if they're down some guys. We know they're down Desmond Bane. Ja also was listed out for one game, but we'd get an update today, and it seems like everything's relatively good. It looks like everything's all good. He was week to week with an ankle sprain that he sustained in that Thunder win, but he's been upgraded to questionable already. So it looks like Ja make his return to the court tonight against this Kings team. We'll see what the Grizzlies are able to do.
My top story, a lot of rumor and speculation, war and rumor of war. The good book portended that. It's Thanksgiving, and we know the carousel spins wilder this weekend than any time of the year. All the tweets and reporting and hot takes, as Gabe said, they'll either be right or they'll be wrong. What's the punishment if you're wrong? There's not any. What's the reward if you're right? Does that immediately hurdle you into from WCBI to an Atlanta station? What's the reward for it other than, hey, I was right? I guess you get to say that. If Lane Kiffin leaves for Auburn, they are getting their best coach since they hired Pat Dye from East Carolina, I think. If he stays at Ole Miss will be keeping its best coach since Johnny Vaught.
Not top story of the day.
It's a great point you make. If he's right, it's like, okay, you had the scoop early, but doesn't mean you're going to have the right scoop the next time around. We'll see. We'll see if our guy John Sokoloff was correct at the end of the day. Now, my not top story of the day, and I hated to see this when I got on the air today. It's sad. But I still think there's opportunities out there for him, and he's been marred with injury in his career. My former teammate Darrell Henderson Jr. has been officially waived by the I almost said St. Louis Rams, by the LA Rams. And it's been a tough year for him. There's more injuries that he's had to deal with. Only 70 attempts for 283 yards, 3 TDs, average 4 yards per carry. So it's been a rough year for him. But at the same time, I sort of wonder what is going on behind the scenes with the Rams, because you said it. Playing behind that line, how do you expect anyone to get anything done? How do you expect that offense to move?
Cooper Kupp out. They got theirs and they got comfortable, Gabe.
They sure did, and I thought it would wear off. I thought they'd come into their own the second month of the season. It just hasn't happened. And Darrell Henderson Jr., I don't think that what has happened this year, his stats, the fall off in production, is any fault of his own. I think it has to do with that front office not paying attention to where their O-line was headed. Andrew Whitworth has to retire after a long, long career. You didn't do anything to really replace any of those guys up front, and the running backs are taking the fault in a lot of ways for the transgressions, the issues that the Rams have. And Darrell Henderson Jr. is out there. He can be picked up. I would imagine he will by somebody, but Rams have moved on.
My not top story. So who's really good in this Orlando tournament the Tigers are getting ready to play? And we're going to look more in depth at the bracket about 3:50 or so. We're getting ready to talk about it with the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin. Only undefeated team in this bracket. Can y'all guess?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, the only undefeated team in this bracket. FSU 1-4, Stanford 2-2. None of these teams even receiving votes this week. And we know how much joy some get counting all the way down and going, we're 38 this week. Not even any of that. The Tigers should go 2-1 in Orlando. 1-2 could be resume building. It's not RPI anymore. The net rating crushing, because this is not a great field.
Net rating, quads. Yeah. Come on, quad talk.
Love it.
We have Ken Palm. It's all out there. It's all out there. But, yeah, it really isn't an unbelievable lineup of teams. But I think the Tigers, when we look at all of the sum of the parts of the tournament, playing Seton Hall, at least getting that potential resume builder in Seton Hall is fun out of the Big East.
And Gabe, it is. That is the half full look at it. And then after this tournament, if they go 2-1, those two teams they beat, they go those teams.
Yep.
Go Seton Hall.
100%.
Go Stanford or whoever it is the rest of the year, because we know that factors in. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Football fans, make this a Thanksgiving to remember with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because when you bet an NFL same-game parlay from now through November 28th, all customers can get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose. Just bet an NFL same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus of at least $20. The bigger you bet, the more you'll get back in free bets. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a large payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, get up to $100 in free bets, win or lose, when you bet an NFL same-game parlay of 4 legs or more. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code SPORTS56. SPORTS56, the promo code. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $100. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Ooh, Louisville versus Texas Tech. I have this on the TV right now, 63-31.
I just love it. Lose by 32
gosh.
to drop to
0-4.
0-5.
They're going to drop to 0-5, no question. They're just they're not even competitive.
Hey, Denny Crum, we say hi.
Yeah, my gosh. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we come back, we have a little Tigers basketball to discuss as they're in the ESPN Events Invitational, which will start up on Thursday against Seton Hall. Dave Aloshin joins us next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with TaylorMade. The TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Wood Age is here, featuring 60 layers of carbon layer for better energy transfer and faster ball speeds. And now available, the new TaylorMade high-toe milled wedges, designed for a lower launch and more spin. While you're there, pick up the popular TaylorMade Tour Response Stripe golf balls. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and have one of our experienced experts custom fit you for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimeno's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimeno's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimeno's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimeno's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
Friday, the biggest World Cup showdown kicks off on Fox.
Oh, my goodness!
Christian Pulisic leads the Stars and Stripes.
What can this kid do?
Against the unstoppable Harry Kane and global powerhouse England.
What a night!
Team USA face their toughest test of the tournament with everything on the line and a chance to shock the world.
That is magnificent!
USA, England. Coverage begins Friday at 1 Eastern on Fox.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe. Unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Guns and Ammo has a full line of Pro Shot products, a tremendous selection of accessories from belts, holsters, gun cases, specialty boxes, Benchmade knives, and assorted optics. At Guns and Ammo, enjoy selecting all your favorite firearms, from hunting supplies to target shooting to self-defense. Experience the excellence at Guns and Ammo with a friendly, knowledgeable staff and hundreds of guns to choose from. Guns and Ammo, 3615 Summer Avenue, Memphis local, and supporting the NRA and Friends of the NRA. Guns and Ammo, family owned since 1985.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brent Norsworthy.
Dave Woloshin is the voice of the Tigers, and Dave Woloshin also graces these airways with his presence. 10 to 11 every single day, 560 AM, 98.5 FM on Wallow and Friends on Sports 56. And he joins us now via the phone line. Dave, how are you? What are your plans this week?
Well, I love it that I grace these airways. I'm like Fred Astaire, I think, so graceful and perfectly put. Thank you, Gabe.
I was thinking more Baryshnikov, but if you want to go Fred, that's okay.
There's some truth. I do have that Russian heritage.
I know, from Velos.
Yeah. I'm getting. In fact, I'm sitting here, and I've been looking at my charts here for the SMU Mustangs, and I'm getting ready for. We have coaches meetings on Thursday, and then we'll be taking off for Dallas on Friday. Unfortunately, it did not work out for me to do basketball in Orlando.
Right.
But as you just made the point, I mean, this looked like it was going to be a good field, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Seton Hall, Memphis, Florida State, they're all, I guess, on the same side. That looked like, it was going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But Florida State has been a disaster. Seton Hall's lost the game. Memphis has lost the game. And I really was a little surprised when I heard you say Ole Miss is the only perfect slate team in the field.
Right. Well, the one thing though, I'm glad they get Seton Hall off the top because they're probably top three teams in the field in general. I guess Oklahoma could be in there. Nebraska's had its struggles over the years. Stanford not as good. Florida State not as good. But getting Seton Hall off the top is one of the, surprisingly few resume builders in this invitational.
Well, when I was looking at this thing, honestly, I haven't seen odds on it or anything of that nature, but I would think the winner of the Memphis Seton Hall game is going to win this tournament.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. I think very
so.
Plausible.
And Dave, we also said after you leave this tournament in late February, if you beat Seton Hall or if you beat Stanford or whoever it is, late February, you're rooting like heck for them in their conference to win, because every win they get just helps you with that committee.
It helps you with that net rating. It helps you with everything. There's no doubt about it. And like you said, if you went 1-2 in this thing, it would be net crushing. I don't think that'll be happening. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that Memphis would be any less than 2-1 in this tournament. But you never know. That's like trying to guess when the heck DeMaurier Franklin is going to be eligible.
Boy, no kidding.
You have no guess on that?
Sad.
Is that what you're telling me? No guess on that?
I really don't understand that. You know, from everything that I've learned about it, this kid was up front. He goes into his coach and he says, I want to transfer. The coach says, no, don't do that. I'm going to build this team around you. I'm going to get a bunch of transfers. You wait and see. Kid waits for the summer, and the coach doesn't get anybody. Now, maybe he tried, maybe he didn't. I don't know, but he didn't get anybody. The kid then goes in and says, Coach, I'm sorry. It's my last year. I want to play in the NCAA tournament. I'm going to get my graduate degree, and I'm going to transfer. And the coach says, no, you're not, because I'm taking away your scholarship. And Gary Parrish has documentation of the termination of his scholarship. Mm-hmm. And then the guy won't release him?
Right.
That's That's absurd.
And also, too, it's frustrating for Tigers fans and that team in general because DeMaurier Franklin inserted into this starting lineup as another form of offense would be huge. And I'd imagine from a win standpoint, it adds wins to the resume having a guy like that in the lineup.
This offense needs a boost.
Well, it needs a boost. And, I'm a little skeptical just because I think the thing that Memphis needs the most is three-point shooting. Yep. And if you look to see, this guy shot 29% last year from three-point range. Now, I'll say this. The last time I heard Penny waiting on a player, and he said he was going to be special, that was DeAndre Williams. And I don't think there's any doubt that DeAndre Williams has been a special player for the University of Memphis. So if this kid has that kind of impact, it is definitely going to be amazingly helpful. But he's not going to bring three-point shooting, that's for sure. Memphis is going to have to rely on being a very good offensive rebounding team to make up for their inadequacies from downtown.
And the equalizer is going to be squatting down and defending. And that's what it is. That's what it is with Penny Hardaway coach teams. What did you think about the changes to the starting lineup? I know that Penny wants to find something a little different. It feels like, inserting Chandler Lawson, inserting Jaden Hardaway, there is a focus consistently for him, no matter what he's doing with those rotations on defense. And it certainly worked against VCU.
It did. And he'll probably tinker a few more times because once Franklin gets eligible, somebody is going to leave that starting lineup. I would tell you the biggest dilemma that I think Penny has, I even called it that in our post-game interview, is what do you do with Alo? Alex Lomax missed 14 shots in a row. He was 0 for 8 in the game at St. Louis, 0 for 4 from three-point range. He missed his first 6 shots until he made one finally in the late portion of the game against VCU. And you're going, my goodness, how can a guy who's 0 for 14 or 1 for 15, what are you going to do with him? But when he's off the floor, it hurts Memphis. When he left and they put ice on his knee and his hamstring, that's when VCU actually went on their one mini run in the second half, closed it to within 10. He came back and they righted the ship. He's so steadying. And then if you're looking for proof of that, go look at his plus-minus. Mm-hmm. This is the thing that blows people away. I mean, the best argument to make for having to have Alo on the floor, he had the highest plus-minus of anybody. He was plus 26. Folks, if you don't know what that is, that means when he's on the floor, the Tigers scored 26 more points than the opposition. He had the best plus-minus of any team, of any guy on the team, including KD and including DeAndre Williams.
Yep.
Dave, on Saturday in Highland Park, you will call the Tigers against SMU. I think all of us have had that good feeling, maybe even more so after seeing SMU against Tulane and the Tigers. I know the level of opponent, but how they dispatched them and how the Tigers played in this last 2 games. I have the good feeling Saturday for the Tigers win against SMU.
I feel decent about it. Even Vegas feels decent about it. I mean, what is usually home field advantage? 3 points? Mm-hmm. And the Tigers are 4-point underdogs, which means really SMU is about a point, which is close enough for me to be a pick'em. The thing that I loved about the game with North Alabama, and I know it's an FCS school, and basically Memphis did what it should, but they played well in every phase of the game. Offense, they ran the ball at the end. Defense, they shut them out. First time Tigers had a shutout since 15. Special teams. Well, all year long, Howard and Doyle have been outstanding.
Yep.
But punt returns, kick returns, coverage hadn't been so good. Coverage on both sides was excellent, and you had a punt return, 60 yards for a touchdown for Eddie Lewis. So you played a perfect game pretty much with every phase first time this year. So that's really excellent going into this game, which could propel you to a better bowl. If you win this, now you're 7-5, and maybe they would pair you with one of the bowls that has a Power 5 as an opponent. I'm for Fenway because I want to do a game in Fenway the worst way.
That'd be cool.
I would love to see Memphis play Syracuse in Fenway. That would be my goal.
Oh, yeah.
But the good news is you're in a bowl no matter what, even if you lose this game. But they just got killed. They're clobbered. They've had guys that entered the transfer portal a few weeks ago trying to save their redshirt years. I don't think this is a team that is as together as Memphis. And even with Memphis's losing streak and their struggles, if I watch that team and I talk to those guys, and Gabe, you probably still talk to a bunch of them, they have never given up on each other. That is a truism.
I mean, we bring these guys on every single Monday, a different player. And like even the tone of voice, they're sad, even during the four-game losing streak. But it's not defeated.
It is not dejected.
And there hasn't been they've lost games in horrible ways.
Disappointed.
But there hasn't been a quit in game, right? Like you can maybe argue Mississippi State, but even in the second half, they tried to fight a little bit. Even
I don't know that was
that
quit either, though, Gabe.
Nasty.
I thought that was a really rugged start.
Right,
it was a bad liftoff.
But there has not been that quit. Now against SMU, when we talk about keys, because pass defense has been a struggle for the Tigers all year. Let's be honest about the situation. What Tulane did to take advantage, they got takeaways. It feels like that is going to be a key for that Tiger defense against Tanner Mordecai in that offense.
Well, hasn't that been the case when they were on that great 4-1 start? They were +9 in giveaway takeaway coming into the North Alabama game. They were only +2. They'd gone -7 during that heartbreaking streak. So, takeaways are always going to be a big part of it. Don't turn it over, get a couple, and all of a sudden you're on the plus side. Yeah, that will be big. I just don't know what the state of mind, the psyche of SMU is going to be. And if I were gauging that, I would say Memphis is in a better mental state.
What are your thoughts? I mean, some of these close losses. I mean, from a talent perspective, I've heard some people talk about a talent disparity against some of these teams at the top of the AAC. I don't quite see that. Do you?
No, that's hogwash. Memphis should have beat Houston. I mean, that was the perfect storm. That was almost like the revisiting of 2008, up 9 with 2:12 to go. Certainly didn't have the same ramifications, but you gave up a 100-yard kickoff return, and then you couldn't handle an onside kick where you could have called a fair catch. I mean, special teams cost you that game. Crazy stuff happened in East Carolina. Should have won that game. I think it's more heartbreaking than maddening that the Tigers had that losing streak the way they did. And then, the Tulane game, Memphis showed a lot of moxie coming back. That is something SMU didn't do because you know what? It was the same scenario in the first half. They got turnovers. They got ahead big, but they didn't rally back. Memphis did. Same kind of situation in New Orleans.
Now
I got a good feeling.
Yeah, we'll see. And I'll say on a short week, maybe SMU was a little down, but I do agree with your sentiment about they had guys a few weeks ago just completely bowing out of playing, redshirting because they want to come back next year or transfer. So the psyche of that team could be a little frayed. Now, real quick before we let you roll, I don't know if you got to see it last night. Did you see a little bit of the Maui Invitational? It's Feast Week. Did you see a little bit of the Maui Invitational? Landers Nolly thrived last night, and I it's hard for me to look at this offseason and watch that type of game. And I mean that's a guy that Penny, and I know that by the end there was a few things back and forth, but between him and Tyler Harris, those are a couple guys that on this team seemingly would have thrived.
Let's see how consistent he is, though.
I watched Tyler Harris last night, too. And Tyler Harris was the leading scorer on a team that is now 0-5.
Right.
I watched Landers Nolly, and best I remember, they lost last night.
Yeah, they lost by 8.
And you know what's really cool?
Good Arizona team, I'll say that.
They're going to get to play Ohio State, which, Ohio State won't play them, so I'm glad. And I hope Cincinnati, for the sake of the American, even though they're not going to be any American after this year, I hope they win that game.
Only one American team undefeated, and that's Houston.
Yeah, and I watched them play Oregon, and they're really good.
They're very good.
And if there's any team that could run the table in the American, certainly that is the team that could do it. I don't know that they will, I think Memphis will give them a game here, but they're really, really good. Let's just see what happens with Landers Nolly the whole way.
Right. Yeah.
Because Landers Nolly's on his third school, and it's not just Landers, okay? It's Landers' father and all the stuff that goes with Landers Nolly. Maybe they've learned their lesson. Maybe this will be a great year for him. 4 or 5 games into a season, I'm not making a judgment yet. That's
so
all.
true. So true, Dave. So true.
I get you.
Dave, happy Thanksgiving to you and Gail and your family that's growing this year with weddings, plural.
Weddings and a baby, a grandchild coming in March.
News.
Look out.
That is great news, Dave.
And
Pops Dave.
Yeah.
Pops.
Do you have a fancy grandfather name?
I got to figure that out.
Dave, they have to call you Boat. They have to.
Oh, come on.
I promise you, Brett, that will not be enough.
Dave, always appreciated this.
Happy Thanksgiving, Brett, to Tommy and you and your nephews and your family. Gabe, happy Thanksgiving to you. And is that your fiance yet?
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
I've been asking you for 3
Come
years
on,
now.
Dave.
What is your...
All right, Dave. It's time to hang up the phone. Appreciate it, man. You have a good Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, man. Talk to you in the morning, Dave.
You got it.
That's Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Tigers. He will be on the duties at football and SMU. And, of course, there'll be a lot of basketball down in Orlando for the Tiger Network. And we'll visit with Dave next week on this show, and I'll visit with him tomorrow morning about the SEC on his show. Happy holidays from the over 200 Memphis Jason's Deli associates. They really do love their customers, and you saw how much during the pandemic when the whole world had to change. We're all eating out of styrofoam boxes, and they're handing it out a window to us. They had to improvise. They stayed with us, and we stayed with them, and they really appreciate the customers for sticking with them. And this weekend, I know it's about a lot of turkeys and a lot of traditional holiday fare. But you're going to have people coming in right now. You're not going to eat turkey every single meal. Go by Jason's Deli. Get some of those soups, the large quantities to have soups for 8 or 10 or more. They like to say 5 or 5,000. I'm just talking 8 or 10 or more. And those soups are delicious. And then with this cool weather, it is soup season, like the fire roasted tortilla, the spicy seafood gumbo, the chili, the Southwest chicken chili. I love the regular chili, the Texas chili, beanless, all those soups, all the salads, all the breads, all the spreads, all that great food at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from at any of these locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. When you're there, the salad bar, outstanding, over 30 items to choose from just on the salad bar. Trans fat free food, healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, good and good for you. Now, you can deviate from the good and good for you in these locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova with the complimentary ice cream every time you're in one of those locations. Happy holidays from everyone at Jason's Deli, and always check them out online at jasonsdeli.com.
We go and grab a break, and when we come back, we talk about the bracket in Orlando, the ESPN Events Invitational, what that may look like, what times these games will potentially play over the weekend. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about a little more Landers Nolly, Tyler Harris, and sort of what they would have meant to this year's team. We'll do that next.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Call Conway Services today for a $69 heating system tune-up. Feel confident knowing the expert technicians at Conway will do the job right the first time. In fact, if your system breaks down within 6 months of our tune-up, we'll give you double your money back. Schedule your $69 heating system tune-up with our double your money back guarantee now before this offer expires. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today. Get ready for your holiday road trip in a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike. How about 41 MPG Highway? Get it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $289 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. Or get a thrill for real in 2023 Kia K5 LXS. $365 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. And if you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order you a new ride today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Forte PE 543,577, MSRP 22,335, K5 PG 186,690, MSRP 27,765. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. With approved credit, dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston for QC Kinetics. Remember the guy for the Hair Club of Men who would say, I'm not just the president, but I'm a client. Well, I'm not just a spokesman, but I'm a client of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine. It's a remedy for all the joint pain you're dealing with in the hips, shoulder, elbows, wherever it may be, pain from injury or arthritis. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue and do so without surgery, drugs, or downtime. And in my business, I can't afford downtime. QC Kinetics is also an alternative way for those dealing with pain caused by injury like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff injury, which is what I'm dealing with. So don't keep living with that pain. Do what I'm doing, getting relief from QC Kinetics. Call for a free consultation today. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Without Prilosec, I wouldn't be able to enjoy all this yummy holiday food. Speaking of, whoever made that apple pie, delicious. I just take one pill each morning and zero heartburn all day. So cheers to Prilosec OTC. Ooh, are those jalapeno poppers?
Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid that can cause heartburn, so you can enjoy the holidays. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
It's gotten colder outside, and the folks at Family Leisure want you to relax at home in your new massage chair or catch a game in your new home theater set. The Relax at Home sale is going on right now at Family Leisure with great deals on pool tables or shuffleboards, or enjoy a game with all your friends and your family. Also on sale now, saunas, hot tubs, patio furniture. It's the Relax at Home sale. Come by Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. That's where you'll relax at home.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I don't want to die for them to miss me. Yes, I see the things that they wishing on me. Hope I got some brothers that outlive me. They gon' tell the story was different with me.
Back rolling, Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Tigers basketball will tip off on Thursday in the ESPN Events Invitational. 8 teams involved. There's going to be a winner's bracket, a loser's bracket, a winner's championship, and a loser's championship. I think the Tigers' ultimate goal in this tournament, obviously go win it and potentially go 3-0, but 2-1 is something that I think will work a whole lot. Tigers draw the late game on Thursday. After everybody else, it'll tip off 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Now, one side, Memphis versus Seton Hall, Nebraska versus Oklahoma. The other side, Stanford versus Ole Miss, Siena versus Florida State.
So we don't get Nebraska and Oklahoma anymore in football, but we get it on the hardwoods in Orlando over Thanksgiving.
Right. We do. It's not near as fun. It's not near as fun. I'll tell you that right now.
It had no zing. I couldn't sell it.
But if the Tigers do win their game, there will be no games held on Saturday. Obviously.
But we did have Nebraska and Oklahoma this year in football. We just didn't pay attention to it.
Past 2 years.
Yeah.
But if the Tigers do win against Seton Hall, they would play at 7 p.m. Central Time on Friday. If they lose, they play at 4:30 Central Time on Friday.
We assume OU and Porter Moser squad if the Tigers
is
win,
one of the
right?
best teams. Yeah, I would imagine as much. On the other
Porter
side,
Moser's a great coach.
On the other side, Ole Miss, I think, is probably clearly the side the Tigers are on is by far the best side at this moment. The way Florida State has been playing, there's been some struggles. Ole Miss and Stanford, they're okay teams. They'll sort of be at the finish toward the middle to bottom half of their respective conference. Siena's a solid team, been a good mid-major, but it's Siena in the end of the day. I think Seton Hall, Nebraska, Oklahoma, certainly
Siena
the
now
better
in
side.
the Colonial?
I think so.
Great question.
It was a question. It was not. That was not a period. That was a question
different
mark.
little ones.
No, the Metro Atlantic Conference.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, see there.
Yeah, see you were
Metro
going to
Atlantic.
Now for the Tigers, like I said, 2-1 seems to be the at least the aiming point. 3-0 is great. 3-0 puts you in a great spot.
The goal for everybody going down there, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. But certainly 3-0 for the Tigers is I don't see why it wouldn't be attainable with the teams that you potentially could draw.
Well, somebody's going to go through. Only one's going 3-0, and if the Tigers did it, then you really root hard. Do you want to play Ole Miss 2 times in 2 weeks?
If it draws that way, fine. If that happens, that happens. But
if Ole Miss goes 7-11, 8-10, 9-9 in SEC, even if you sweep them, does it do you that much good?
Not that much. It's not going to do you that much good in the end of the day. But it's, two wins potentially against the
and if you got
Ole Miss
nicked
team
in
the
Orlando
SEC,
by them, then it makes
neutral court.
must at FedEx Forum.
It does. Tigers 1-2 is. I'm not saying any type of death blow. Again, it's still November, but it's a blow to the resume going 1-2 in this type of environment. Now, worth mentioning on Sunday, the losers championship, if you will be played at 10 a.m. on Sunday. The winners would be on 12:30 on Sunday. But again, we'll see. 2-1 is certainly the attainable and noticeable thing that the Tigers should certainly aim for. 3-0, obviously the pinnacle, and puts them on a awesome track in the non-conference for resume building opportunities. I just can't help but notice last night, Landers Nolly, 33 points.
Looked good.
9 for 14. He looked good, and I know that's not going to be a consistent thing for him to go 9 for 14, but worth mentioning, 9 for 14, making 9 threes last night. That matches what the Tigers have done, their best output in a game. 9 threes is the most the Tigers have hit as a team in a game. Landers Nolly does that last night. And certainly a guy that him and Tyler Harris that the Tigers missed this year and could have used, in my opinion. That's one thing you could say about Penny in the end of the day. When a fair criticism is management of players, of rosters, and giving guys minutes. And they certainly lost 2 guys that could have helped this year's roster. Now, real quick, before we get to hour number 2, I have to tell you about Humdingers. Humdingers sits conveniently on Poplar Avenue, 6300 Poplar Avenue, Suite 101. You can call them 901-260-8292. Again, Poplar at Massey is where you can find them. It's Taco Tuesday. Make sure you get over there. $2 fish, shrimp, and chicken tacos, and they will take care of you. Again, 901-260-8292. If you want fit, fresh meal prep, they do meal prep for you. If you're not able to get that done during the week, they will do it. 901-260-8292. Corporate catering, 15 or more people, or if you're at your house, 15 or more people, very simple. 901-260-8292, and they have all the good stuff. Piri sauce. They do it from mild to hot. It's great. Also, shrimp and grits is added to the menu. And on top of Taco Tuesday, which you can go take advantage of tonight, $2 fish, shrimp, and chicken tacos, they have Fish and Chips Friday for $8.99. They're always handing out the deals. It's Humdingers, East Memphis, Poplar at Massey, 6300 Poplar Avenue, Suite 101. Hour number 2 on the way. And we have some NFL to talk about. We have some Grizzlies to talk about. But coming up next, we get into some college football. We're on the precipice of having the college football playoff rankings tonight. I have my complaints that will be dropping at G_Coon71 on Twitter. But Brent Beard joins us next to talk about everything in college football.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to Los Cabos with 4 locations: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and now on Goodman Road. Los Cabos serving the best food in town with quality service and a fun family atmosphere. At Los Cabos, food and drink are an important part of the dining experience, so you get exceptional food with cocktails worthy of that food. You'll find the best margaritas at Los Cabos, along with delicious specialty drinks, handcrafted cocktails, beer, and happy hour specials 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Los Cabos is open for lunch and dinner, with lunch specials every day starting at $7. Come enjoy delicious Mexican dishes and seafood at the best sports bars in town. Visit with family and friends and enjoy Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill. Los Cabos, now with 4 locations: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and their newest location, 3964 Goodman Road, just a few minutes down the road from Getwell. See you soon at Los Cabos.
Hey, Jeff Allen, the year's winding down. What you got planned before we ring in the new year at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Year-end sales event is on. How about 41 MPG Highway 2023 Kia Forte LXS $289 a month, 36-month lease with $27.99 due at signing, or a 2022 Kia Sorento $391 a month, 36-month lease and $34.99 due at signing.
Jeff, you're smashing high gas prices, and you got something for everybody over there. Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
But if you don't see exactly what you're looking for, I'll order it for you, and you won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. Forte P 543,577, MSRP 22,335, Sorrento NG 149,424, MSRP 32,305. Includes all rebates and incentives, plus minus through Kia, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. With approved credit, dealer stock only. Warranties, limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Barton's has been your hometown building supply store since 1885, offering local delivery. Now Barton's offers in-stock utility trailers, a great option for contractors and frequent DIYers on tight schedules. Available in single and tandem axle options, these 6-foot, 4-inch by 12-foot, 16-foot, and 18-foot trailers are made in Northeast Arkansas and include 15-inch tires and wood floor construction. Visit your West Memphis Barton's at 215 West Broadway to check out these quality in-stock trailer options.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com, click recipes, and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 is here. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. It's a beautiful Tuesday, and joining us on a beautiful Tuesday, as always, at 4 o'clock is our guy Brent Beard, at Brent Beard on Twitter from First Coast News, always talking college football with us. Brent, how are you? You doing well?
Hey, Brent.
Happy Thanksgiving to
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Everybody. Let me throw something at you here.
Let's hear it.
That's going to be interesting. Now, one of the options that we have seen about the expansion of the playoff is what it's going to do to the calendar. Now, here's something to think about. One of the options I've seen is to move the calendar up a week, and week 0 is going to be the beginning of the season. But here's what gets interesting. This time of year, if the calendar is moved, the rivalry games are going to be what would have been last weekend, and the conference championship games are going to be this weekend. So what you're talking about is conference championships after Thanksgiving, rivalry games before Thanksgiving. Now that's something part of the fun.
And media days on the 4th of July.
So that's one of the things that might be coming down the pike.
And some of the options in regards to when they'd play the national championship in the expanded playoff it gets interesting, Brent, doesn't it? Talking about all the way into February, dealing with the week before the Super Bowl I saw in one situation, and competing potentially with they don't want to compete with the NFL, but I mean in that situation you would be competing with playoff football.
Yeah, it would be unavoidable. Yeah, yes, and at some point there's some dog NFL games,
but it's the NFL
carved out its niche. That they don't need to be afraid of that forever. Now, it is going to be interesting. I mean, we're halfway into January now, so some of the models I'm seeing maybe go a week later or 10 days later or something like that. But in order to, and I'm hoping somewhere in here that there may be even not one but 2 bye weeks, which would help everybody a lot if we could do that. But the point for listeners is how interesting would that be if all these rivalry games were played before Thanksgiving instead of having the diplomatic discussions that we'll have this coming Thursday between fans.
And Brent, you could go back to how I remember when the AutoZone Liberty Bowl first came to Memphis. That playing date was Saturday, December 13th, and the 14th, and the 12th, and in there, and it slowly got later and later and later. We could go back to some of these bowl games kicking off December 8th, 9th, 10th, those dates that were outside of the playoff. We know that there's a lot of news going on around the SEC on the field of play. Yeah, that. We know the SEC championship game set. Does LSU have a prayer? I know we'll talk about it a lot next week, but do they have a chance to really bollocks up things?
Well, I think they've got a puncher's chance. Yes, I mean they've obviously got a quarterback that has improved on and on as the season. I think they've got a pretty good running game. Noah Kane has stepped up, and he's playing. I mean, we know they've got some really good players.
If Jaden Daniels was Superman that day, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I still think Georgia's the most complete team of anyone. And look, Brian Kelly knows what he's doing, and you also know that they're probably spending an inordinate amount of time on Georgia this week with playing A&M coming up. So, yeah, I do. I'm not calling for a win and an upset, but I think they've got a shot to play well. Who knows what might happen?
I hate to ask this following up that because we're already looking forward to the SEC championship. But is there a chance that this week in A&M at College Station that they could get a little bit of trouble? I mean, I know what the line's going to say. I think it's 10 points. I mean, do you think A&M's completely checked out, or do you think they could maybe make LSU think a little bit, think twice?
Here's the thing: these rivalry games, guys, and you guys know this, is for whatever reason these underdogs will get into a rivalry game and maybe for the first time in a month be motivated and focused. So, for instance, with A&M, Jimbo's already said that he's very optimistic that Devon Achane and receiver Evan Stewart will be back for LSU. I mean, that's two of their better players on offense that they have not had as of late. So you throw guys like that in there, and if Weigman plays a pretty decent game, I mean, anything's possible. LSU, I think, still the better team there, but and it's at A&M, so I mean, we'll see something written this week that this will be A&M's bowl game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Brent, if regardless of who takes the Auburn job, if they keep Cadillac Williams, if they hire Lane Kiffin, if they hire Hugh Freeze, they shock the world, and it's James Franklin from outside the footprint, a la Brian Kelly last year at LSU and Lincoln Riley last year at Oklahoma. Regardless of who they hire, should John Cohen and the Auburn fans, boosters, big money, rank and file, anybody that knows the creed, ever recited the creed, should they expect a national championship in 3 to 5 years?
I think it would depend on who they get. I mean, they're going to anyway.
Right.
But
they've
also,
won one in 65 years.
Yeah, no. But
and that was with a man named Cam, and he ain't walking through that door again or anything like him.
No. And here's what a lot of our friends probably haven't even looked at yet. But with the people they've got leaving, along with your people who are also running out of eligibility, that roster is going to be worse next year than it actually is this year. So there is a lot. It's almost close to a total rebuild at Auburn, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take at least, I'm not going to say it's going to take 4 years to be competitive, but I think it's going to be. But as far as them winning a divisional title, I think that would probably be fair. And Brett brought up something interesting last week, that, and also saying whoever it is, and I've pondered this a little bit, and it frankly is a fair question. I know that Cadillac's done a fine job. He deserves to be lauded and applauded for that. But how fair? This is theoretical here. How fair is it that whoever is coming in would have an edict to keep Cadillac on the staff? I'm just throwing this out because I mix emotions about it. Is it fair to do that if you're the incoming coach?
Is it fair to Cadillac? Has he not earned it that I've got to be forced on the new person?
Right, yeah. Well.
I hadn't done enough for this place?
Yeah, and you can look at it on both sides. And look, what may happen is this may earn Cadillac a head coaching job. It just may not be. Obviously, it's probably not going to be at Auburn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have serious doubts, even if he beats Alabama, about them actually making that decision. Now, did the Lane Kiffin Twitter controversy yesterday trigger anything to you, or is it just sort of we are where we were yesterday in the Lane Kiffin Auburn situation?
Remember when Twitter was dead last week? It was very alive last night.
Yeah, it's been electric the last few days.
None of it's real, but it's never been real to me. So
no. Listen, it's like. There's always an element of doubt there, is it not?
Yeah, always.
Gabe, no. Now, look, Lane is Lane, and I've posed this question to some media friends today by saying, look, if Lane's going to Auburn, do you go to the trouble of going on Twitter and defending yourself, if that's a way to put it, the way that he did, and still go? I still really have my doubts if he's going to make the move. He's going to be fine, frankly, wherever he goes. But I don't know if there's another coach out there right now who is as much fun on Twitter as Lane is.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. He's great on Twitter. What I want to see if you're like-minded like me, when we talk about Lane potentially taking the job at Auburn, NIL money, I know he can recruit. He'd find a way to get that done. We know that on the field, I mean, he'll draw it up offensively. He'll have something ready to go. He has a lot of connections. He'll have a good staff around him. I get all that. If there are concerns about Lane Kiffin going to Auburn, what are those concerns to you?
Well, the biggest is the one that never goes away, is all this rhetoric about the whoever the athletic director is, and this time it's Cohen, that they're going to make that hire by themselves. Now, that hasn't happened yet, and I don't foresee that in the near future either. That to me would be the biggest concern, and frankly, the reality is Lane Lane can stay put by this time. Who knows what's going to come up the next 2 or 3, 4 years for Lane, and it may certainly be a program with less internal issues than Auburn.
What if Alabama came open in 3 weeks?
Ooh.
Oh, I think he'd be right now, Brett. I think he would be. I don't know if he'd go, but I think he'd be heavily considered for that job.
Would have to be.
I think now Dabo's name is going to be in there because some of the older big money boosters will be interested in that too. But I mean, if Saban decided to retire, and I don't think he's going to, would Lane be involved in that? His name be mentioned? I absolutely think it would.
Yeah, and if he gets offered, he's gone immediately. If he is offered that job, he will not waste any time in getting to Tuscaloosa. Now, we brought up A&M. I want to bring it back up because I'm curious your thoughts on Jimbo as a whole. I brought this up on, I believe, last week toward the end of the week. What at this point, because we're seeing the recruiting rankings come out for 2023. I think he's 8th in the SEC. He's losing recruits left and right. He did it before this season. Harold Perkins, who's awesome for LSU, was the guy that was originally committed to A&M, and he lost them. I ask this seriously because they are 4-7. What to you is a positive about Jimbo Fisher at this moment at Texas A&M? Is there one?
There aren't many, frankly. Now, what he's going to say to his boss is, we've got this young quarterback that we think is going to happen. We've got this great recruiting class that we brought in, even though some of them are leaving. So we think that we'll be able to get it done. But I mean, beyond that, and there may be some lip service about, well, maybe I do need to be the CEO and we bring in an honest-to-goodness offensive coordinator, and we would look at the scheme and I would take a step back.
Something tells me, though, and I certainly want your thoughts on this. Something tells me with Jimbo, though, it would be sort of the Gus Malzahn effect of, I'm stepping back, but if we have a bad game, I'm stepping right back in. Yeah. And if we have a bad game, I'm going to blame it on the guy that I brought in to fix the offense, right? And I wonder if Jimbo can handle taking his hands off the controls.
I don't think he can.
Right.
Frankly, that's just who he is. And look, for them, I mean, we know they've got talent, but we also know a lot of these names we've just mentioned are probably going to be hitting the door and heading out too. So that, I mean, they may be young, but that they could be pretty depleted themselves.
Brent, I don't, if I did, have anywhere a vote for SEC Coach of the Year. And I promise I would do it if Vanderbilt upsets Tennessee this week, and it would be an upset, even though it's in Nashville at Vanderbilt Stadium, at First Bank Stadium, on the campus of Vanderbilt University. I would vote for Clark Lee. If they lose, I would vote for Kirby Smart. I know he was expected to go undefeated, but by golly, he did.
Well, and frankly, I think Brian Kelly may get a few too.
Right.
Now, Josh Heupel, if they had not been blistered by South Carolina, probably would have got his share.
Is blistered even the word for what that was? My gosh.
Well, I said on the television the other night, if Vandy beats Tennessee, we may be in for the apocalypse because they'd win 3 SEC games in a row. But Brett's point's well taken. He has done, and listen, we just ignored him at media days when he said.
Well, and then he went crazy.
Yeah. So that this is a great place to be. We're going to win championships here, things of that nature.
What if he was right? What if this is the start of the domination?
They're at least another level better than where they've been, if not, frankly, 2 or 3. I mean, they've won with not one but 2 quarterbacks.
Brent, you know the good book well. Is anywhere in Leviticus about Vanderbilt taking over the world?
Yeah, yeah. But maybe in the small print in the notes at the bottom. But look, listen, for them to be 5-6 at this juncture is nothing short of really a miracle.
Right, I agree with you.
Water to wine.
I think I had them 2-10 in the preseason when I picked their schedule.
I had 3-9 and thought I was going crazy.
Yeah, thought that was a step up. That was a great year for them, 3-9, but 5-6, unbelievable. Now I know that Shane Beamer rubs people the wrong way, may come off as a little cocky, a little arrogant at times.
Perfect place for cocky Shane.
But
yeah,
do we need to give him his flowers for the job he's turned out this year?
Well, I mean, frankly, the last 2 years he's given them some promise. Now the problem is they will have a great win, and their beat writers would tell you the same thing. They can't handle success, which probably means that they may get dismantled by Clemson this weekend, but they finally got Spencer Rattler to do what they thought he could do all along. 30 of 37 for 6 touchdowns is great,
right?
Even in the backyard against the neighborhood kids. So he deserves a lot of credit for that. They'll have a decent bowl, and he's probably going to do pretty well on the recruiting trail. I mean, he's learning. Is he a great coach yet? No, but they have won enough this year that they've got their fan base excited, which is certainly similar to what Tennessee's done too.
Can you imagine the monster he will be if he ever starts winning double-digit games every year?
Listen, that's an astute point. That would be amazing to see, and we've all been there one time or another, what that fan base would be like if they were really consistently good. I mean, if they
great fans.
Listen, if they had say 3 double-digit winning seasons in a row, what would that fan base be sitting on the flagpole by then?
We'll see. What is if you're putting the finger on the pulse of the Florida fan base right now, especially after losing to Vandy last week, what is that pulse? How are they feeling right now, especially going
to beat Utah?
And honestly, going into a game this week with a lot of injuries, looking very bleak against a good Florida State team. Mike Norvell's done a great job.
Well, I said the other night on First Coach News, Florida State may be the most improved team in the country. Now, look, I know, and people can argue, and I get it, that who have they played, but what we said at the beginning of the year was
played and beat LSU, I'll say that.
If they could win those 50-50 games that either team could win, that they would have a really good year, and that's frankly what they've done. That's the thing that's been so impressive about that. But on to your question, people, Gator fans that I come in contact with around here they're just shaking their heads about Vanderbilt. That was extremely disappointing. They do believe that they've gotten better. They know they're going to a bowl game. They were hoping they'd go to the Gator Bowl, but I don't think that's going to happen now. But there's no excuse in losing to Vanderbilt. I don't care how improved they are when you've got a better roster. But they do believe that they'll have a good team or a better team that's coming back next year.
They should fire Mullen again for losing to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Look, to Brent's question, how did they beat Utah? Was Utah really had no idea how effective Anthony Richardson could be. and he had a great game then, and that made a big difference.
Swamp was rocking.
Yes, it was. And it's been quite inconsistent since that time. And again, the big question is about half that fan base wants Richardson back, and about half of it realizes, well, this guy probably is never going to be very consistent, so will we do better going on with somebody else? And that will be the biggest question happening after Friday night.
And also, when you talk about them beating Utah and even Florida State beating LSU, I mean, first week of the season versus 13th or 12th week of the season, those different teams. How many times have we had the conversation about what if they met them now? How would that game go if they met them in week 13 instead of week 2? So there's always that conversation as well. But Brent, appreciate you joining us as always. You have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy yourself this week.
Guys, always enjoy it. Look forward to next week too. Take care.
Thank you, Brent. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. At All-Star Chevrolet, it's not very often they get the chance to tell each and every customer how thankful they are for them, and I'm going to try my best to do it this month. Instead of telling you about all the vehicles and all the great deals, they asked me to say thank you. Thank you very much to everyone, whether you've bought from All-Star or not. They want everyone to feel at home at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. If you want something new to drive, maybe a Silverado or Tahoe for the holidays into the new year, you can. Or just need to sell your car, call or go by and see Kevin or Jeff. If you need service before heading out for a holiday trip, call and ask for Chance or Jeff in the service department, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Remember, it's not the Pike, it's not Mount Moriah, not South Haven, Bartlett, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, first exit into Mississippi, Highway 78. Take Kraft Goodman Road, you're there. Find new fun for the holidays. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Happy Thanksgiving from everyone at All-Star Chevrolet.
Now, we have to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we have some NFL to discuss. I know that it's rivalry week in college football, and sort of the season feels like it's winding down, and it's winding down quick. But don't fret. The NFL, we have a long home stretch. We have a lot of football to be played there. We finished up Week 11 with Monday Night Football last night. Jimmy G and the 49ers look fantastic, look very good there in the NFC right now, especially with their positioning. They took over the NFC West last night with that win. Also, Week 11 brought us an interesting storyline out of New York and Zach Wilson that we're going to have to discuss. We'll do that next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai, state-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Go
golfers. Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with TaylorMade. The TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Wood Age is here, featuring 60 layers of carbon layer for better energy transfer and faster ball speeds. And now available, the new TaylorMade high-toe milled wedges, designed for a lower launch and more spin. While you're there, pick up the popular TaylorMade Tour Response Stripe golf balls. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and have one of our experienced experts custom fit you for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
I'm Kelly Erb with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I just had to ask, Sheldon, did you really just buy a set of golf clubs and you never tried them out?
Yep, that's right.
And Sheldon, didn't you tell me whenever you buy a car, you never test drive it?
Again? Yep.
Don't you think that's pretty bizarre since you always tell people to talk to 2 or 3 agents when they sell their home?
Yes, it is. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm also with Mark Spensdorf Realtors with Kelly. It's funny, we tell people that you should always talk to more than one agent to find out not only what they think about your home, but more importantly, what they will do for you. And you really need to make sure and include us in the interview process.
I agree, because how are you going to find out about our strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option? And as people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
That's Sheldon Rosengarten and Kelly Erb. Call or email us at memphisrelocate.com or 682-1868. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com, click recipes, and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Second hour of Sports Time is brought to you by our good friends at the Big Green Egg. I always talk about your best ability being your availability, whether it's your favorite athlete or your favorite grill. If you want it available 24/7, 365, it's still grilling season, still football season. Take advantage and go get one from the Big Green Egg. It's the last grill you'll ever have to buy. Most folks have had it for 20 to 30 plus years. Twofold. Two reasons that it is so reliable. One, highest quality ceramic in the game, so it does not rust. Also, they've had a warranty on all ceramic parts since 1995. So if you break one goes malfunct, you send it in to our good friends. They send you one back free of charge. You get it attached. You get rolling. 100% natural lumpwood charcoal grill, so the flavor is going to be superior to that of a gas grill. It's going to be fantastic. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill. Desserts. You can get a pizza stone separate. You can get all their rubs. Everything you make on the Big Green Egg is going to be fantastic. It comes in 7 different sizes. So they have a size. They have a price for you. Just make sure that you go check out and find which one is available and which one you want. You can find it at these retailers around the area: Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, and both of the Aces in town, East Memphis Ace and Cordova Ace Hardware. So if you're looking for a do-it-all, reliable, long-lasting grill at a great price point, again, that is 4 check marks. That is 4 check marks for the Big Green Egg. Look no further than our good friends at the Big Green Egg. So we had Monday Night Football last night, wrap up Week 11, and the Cardinals looked awful. And Colt McCoy, we knew it was going to be a struggle with them. The fact that he was playing quarterback and Kyler Murray is still on the shelf with 38-10 49ers, and the 49ers just bullied them every step of the way. The Cardinals looked a little bit soft. They couldn't tackle very well. The running game was going. Jimmy G got into that play-action game. He had 4 TDs, 0 INTs. That team, down the stretch of the season, is built for this time of year. That's the truth of the matter.
Can they win the Super Bowl?
Can they make it to a Super Bowl? Sure. We've seen it in the past. Can
That's
they win
a very good answer.
Can they
win
win
not
it?
ask make.
Can they
win it? No, because they have Jimmy Garoppolo.
I fear that we do this too often, right? And we go into these conversations about quarterback play in the NFL, and we say, okay, we have the elites. We have Josh Allen, Tom Brady,
Championship
Aaron
flight,
Rodgers,
first flight, second flight.
all these different Patrick Mahomes. We talk about those championship quarterbacks. I feel like sometimes we regress with quarterback talk to that second flight being, they're trash. They can't be trusted. They're awful. Jimmy G's in that second flight. He's a good enough quarterback to win you ball games. Is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is he a great quarterback? No. He's a guy who can win you ball games,
and show me in the history of Super Bowl win. There are a couple. But in the history of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, what model would he be? I know many would say Dilfer, but this 49er defense is not as good as that Raven defense.
Right.
Many would say Jeff Hostetler. This run game for San Francisco is not Otis Anderson.
I think
and this defense is not Bill Belichick's Giants defense that year.
And here's the thing. I think he might be slightly better than those guys. Slightly. You look at a Joe Flacco, slightly better, but again, those defenses were
he's not
better.
Better than Flacco.
I think
I'm going to get Drew Barrett on you for that.
I think
he's not better.
You
than
can
Flacco.
stick Drew. I'll deal with this. He's 37-16 as a starter in San Fran. He wins ball games, and the thing is, the reason he wins ball games because he's steady.
So you won't have the is he elite?
No. I don't think Joe Flacco was ever elite. So I've never said that.
All right, Gabe. But look at all these NFC quarterbacks in relation to having to play the champion of the AFC, whether it's Kansas City or the Titans, Buffalo, maybe even Miami. How scared would these teams be of a Jalen Hurts in his first Super Bowl?
Not very.
Of a Kirk Cousins.
Not very.
Of a Jimmy G.
Not very.
Of a 58-year-old Tom Brady.
They're still scared of Tom Brady just because of history. History tells you that you should be scared of him.
You're scared of all those rings?
History tells you something about Tom Brady and his teams.
How scared are you of Dak?
Not overly. The AFC is
Dan Dimes.
The AFC is the
Geno
king of
Smith.
Quarterback play right now. I agree with that. But I do think that Jimmy G, what he has done for this 49ers team over the years, again, 37-16 as a starter, I'm not making that up. That is a real record.
It's hard to believe.
He doesn't make the crazy mistakes.
Can you prove that for me?
He doesn't make the crazy mistakes. That's why his teams can go win with their roster makeup, and Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. But also, I think when push comes to shove, he can't make the extra throw. He doesn't make the mistakes that kill you. He doesn't do the Ryan Tannehill versus the Bengals thing last year, but he also can't make that extra throw to go win you a ball game when you need to in a Super Bowl situation.
And, Gabe, if it's just championship flight quarterbacks we're talking about, then why does Rodgers only have one?
That's a good point because it's a team game. It's a team game. And that's why
Drew
Jimmy
Brees,
and also
one.
if we're going
Russell Wilson, one.
If we want to break down the reason that Jimmy G is 37-16, look at the rosters he's been a part of. Look at the head coach. Look at the staff. It's simple. It's simple why he is in the position he is in. He has been
He is better. I think he is better than
benefited.
Dilfer and Hostetler.
Not Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's where you draw the line. Joe
I don't know if I
Flacco's
want to
elite.
fight over it.
Drew Barrett convinced you that Joe Flacco's elite over all the years. I hear you. I hear you. Now, speaking of quarterback play, I think Jimmy G is substantially better than the guy I'm about to get ready to talk about. But we got over a game this weekend on Sunday where the Pats and the Jets played in an AFC East matchup. And it was 10-3, the final score. Marcus Jones takes back a punt, 86 yards to win that game for the Pats. Do your job. # do your job. The Bill B way.
Bill Belichick.
Now, after the game, Zach Wilson, whose offense only had 2 yards, yes, count them, 1, 2 yards in the second half, was asked about if he let the defense down, and here was the scene.
As an offense, though, I mean, when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No. Yeah, that was a verbal no. If you didn't quite catch that, it was a verbal
One
no.
of those 2 yards, which one of the 2 yards he's most proud of?
Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jets, of a 6-4 Jets team, I may add, says all options are on the table. He declined to name Zach Wilson the starter, which sort of leaves the door open for Joe Flacco, whoever it may be, behind Zach Wilson. I want to
show you.
Let me go ahead. Yeah, he's going to show that he's elite. Let me go ahead and read these stats just to have a little fun. Zach Wilson on Sunday was 9 for 22 for 77 yards. The offense, 2 yards in the second half. That's an average of 2.77 inches, 2.77, again, inches per play in the second half. I want to do a quick blind resume just for gigs. Zach Wilson and another guy. I'm just going to do a blind resume, right, through 20 career starts. Zach Wilson, 70.7 pass rating, blind resume, 70.6. Pass TD to INT, 13 to 16 for Zach Wilson, 15 and 13 for the blind resume. Completion percentage, 55 to 52. Zach Wilson to the blind resume, 6.3 yards per attempt to 6.2, 8 and 12 win-loss, 6 and 14. So very, very similar statistics, right? Like we can all agree with that. The blind resume is Jamarcus Russell. The blind resume is Jamarcus Russell, noted biggest bust in the history, one of the biggest busts in the history of the game.
You always got Johnny for big bust.
My big issue here, Brett, and I think everybody takes issue with this. You're a quarterback in the National Football League. Take responsibility. 3 points and 72 yards, 77 yards passing. And you feel like you did your job and didn't let your defense down as an NFL quarterback in New York. You think that 2 yards in the second half, 2.77 inches per play in the second half was enough to go win the game. It was sufficient to win the game.
I heard Dan Graziano this morning on Get Up on one of the ESPN shows this morning talking a lot of NFL, and he said when he was beat writer covering the New York Giants, I never knew this. He said the only time Eli Manning would ever appear on the Monday morning or Tuesday, if it was Monday Night Football, the after the game kind of conference call with the various reporters, the only time he would ever appear after a loss. Never would come on after a win. But he thought he had to be there to answer as quarterback of the New York Giants in defeat, and he would always join after a loss and never after a win.
As a quarterback, you're the face of a franchise, generally speaking. You take responsibility for all the – even if it's not your fault, you take this responsibility for all the transgressions, the issues. Yes, you are if you play well. You're going to get nabbed for – you should take responsibility for all the issues your offense has, even if it's not your fault. And you look at Zach Wilson and what he did on Sunday, it was basically all his fault. He missed guys on a wide open post, didn't really know the playbook, was way out there.
I like his collection of young receivers.
Struggling. His receivers are fine. They're good. His O-line's been playing well since they got Dwayne Brown to man the left tackle after Mekhi Becton's injury. There's no issues there. Their defense, a collection of young talent that has them at 6-4 so far. And in an NFL locker room, these are like Brett. Like I don't know if this gets discussed enough. These are grown men. These are grown men trying to hold a job that are playing for something at 6-4.
You can't sell a load of stuff to them.
That game would have put the Jets in the 6th spot in the AFC playoff picture. And yet you 2 yards in the second half, you score 3 points altogether, you lose on a punt return, and your quarterback saying, "No, I don't think I let that
smells a rat earlier than anybody."
And guess what? They're smelling it right now. That's the truth of the matter. And for Zach Wilson, this is beyond being bad at football, which I think he's bad. I think he's been awful this year. They are 6-4 despite some of the performances he's put out there. He needs a mindset change. I mean, this reeks of a guy who just needs to grow up ASAP.
Well, we said that about Sam Darnold there too, Gabe.
Yeah, and by the way, he's getting a start this weekend. Did you see that? Steve Wilkes.
Broadway Sam.
But you need a mindset change. You need to grow up from BYU, and I'm slinging it around. I was the big thing coming out of college. I'm the number 2 overall pick. Yada yada. All the talent in the world. I rolled out left and threw it 70 yards off of my rolling out the wrong way.
That's Jamarcus Russell throwing it 75 yards on his knees.
Get out of that mindset. Yeah. This is different. You have to go out on Sunday, especially in New York, and perform. And he hasn't done that. And that, honestly, if we're talking about that question, about do you think you let the defense down with 3 points and 2 yards in the second half, that was a layup, wasn't it? That was a layup. Yes. Absolutely. We need to be better. I need to be better.
I'm the quarterback of the New York Jets. I take responsibility.
And he failed. Not only is he failing on the field, but he's failing the pressers. I mean, this is.
And to Daniel Jones's credit, bad. He takes the arrows. To Dimes' credit across town.
Through 5 years, he has taken everything on the chin, and I respect
right
that.
To the chops. I mean, it hadn't been glancing blows.
For Zach Wilson, Brett, this could be over if he keeps this up. Not good. Like the fact of the matter is that some of the things he's been putting out there on film and some of the things he's been putting out there to the press, it's going to be hard for teams to even bring him on as a potential backup to be in a locker room at that point. So this mindset switch needs to happen ASAP, or Zach Wilson, it could be over for him before it even really starts.
It sure could be. Brett Northworthy here for FanDuel. Get more kicks out of every World Soccer match with FanDuel. Soccer fans, now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot because new customers get $125 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to goal scored to corner kicks. Everything. Overs, unders, everything. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Best of all, you'll get paid your winnings instantly. So don't miss your chance to get $125 in free bets, win or lose, when you join FanDuel with promo code SPORTS56. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Grizzlies back in FedEx Forum tonight versus the winners of 6 in a row, the Sacramento Kings, of all people. They were 3-6 before this started. They are 9-6 now. And we have to talk about Ja and his potential availability already tonight after what was being termed as a week-to-week injury with an ankle sprain. We'll be back after this.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston for QC Kinetics. Remember the guy for the hair club of men who would say, I'm not just the president, but I'm a client. Well, I'm not just a spokesman, but I'm a client of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine. It's a remedy for all the joint pain you're dealing with in the hips, shoulder, elbows, wherever it may be, pain from injury or arthritis. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue and do so without surgery, drugs, or downtime. And in my business, I can't afford downtime. QC Kinetics is also an alternative way for those dealing with pain caused by injury like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff injury, which is what I'm dealing with. So don't keep living with that pain. Do what I'm doing, getting relief from QC Kinetics. Call for a free consultation today. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
It's gotten colder outside, and the folks at Family Leisure want you to relax at home in your new massage chair or catch a game in your new home theater set. The Relax at Home sale is going on right now at Family Leisure with great deals on pool tables or shuffleboards, or enjoy a game with all your friends and your family. Also on sale now, saunas, hot tubs, patio furniture. It's the Relax at Home sale. Come by Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. That's where you'll relax at home.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to BigGreenEgg.com.
Get holiday ready at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on Covington Pike during our Black Friday sales event. You ready for a new ride but can't seem to find just what you're looking for? No worries. Stop by, pick your ride, and Gossett will get it ordered just for you. No hassles, no extra charges, no market adjustments. Pay no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Plus, keep your money in your pocket during the holidays and get no payments for 90 days on select models. And 2022 Renegade Sport 4x4, we Gossett $399 a month, or buy it for $29,990. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike. Or shop online 24/7, 365 at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Renegade NPN 79312, MSRP 31980. Must finance through Chrysler Capital. Includes all rebates and incentives. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Bon appetit.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Papa was a Rolling Stone, but now I got Rolling Stones in the bells.
We have so much to be thankful for, and the people at All-Star Chevrolet, they know that, and they wanted me to express to everyone just how appreciative and thankful they are for their support during this year and this month. Instead of telling you about all the great vehicles and all the great deals, they got those. They want me to say thank you. Thank you from the bottoms of their heart to all their customers. Whether you bought it from All-Star or not, they want everyone to feel at home at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. And if you want something new to drive, maybe a Silverado or Tahoe, just need to sell your car, call or go by to see Kevin or Jeff. If you need service before heading out for the holidays, call Chance in the service department or Jeff in the service department, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Happy Thanksgiving from everyone at All-Star Chevrolet. First exit off Highway 78, Kraft Goodman Road into Mississippi. Remember, it's not the Pike, it's not South Haven, Bartlett, Mount Moriah, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new fun for the holidays and find new roads to All-Star Chevy and Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Now, Grizzlies versus the Kings tonight in FedEx Forum. 10-7 Grizzlies versus the 9-6 Kings, I should say. Both those teams in a protected seed right now, technically, at the top of the Western Conference. Now, I need to address this. Somebody want to get a key done or crack the code or something on the Grizzlies injury report? I don't know what anything means anymore. I am lost. Week to week now means a game missed potentially, and now Ja Morant's questionable. Brett, do we have any beat on on how to get this done? Can somebody start tracking what injury designations mean for certain players?
I can't. It's almost. It really is. It's almost in code that the 7th floor of the CIA building in Langley, Virginia, can't crack. So a brain like mine sure can.
I can't keep up. I'm so lost. But Ja Morant, good news. His left ankle sprain. It looks like he is going to be questionable going forward. When they originally said week to week, Desmond Bane's still out with that toe sprain. But getting Ja Morant back this quickly, I guess all is relatively good in the world because, going into the season without Jaren Jackson Jr., the thought was always about treading water. You thought over the next couple of weeks with no Bane and Ja, that was going to become a reality very, very fast. But Ja Morant was asked about his alien return from injury and how quick potentially he comes back from injury with his healing power. And some of the answers he gives are always fun, but the answer he gave today was especially fun. He said, I'm a cyborg. I'm just a unique dude, man. I don't think I'm human. I got to do some lab testing or something to see what is really behind it. The league is doing the same. Apparently, the league put a drug test out on him today, so he had to take a league-mandated drug test today after being listed as questionable. So there's that for Ja Morant. How about it? Tonight's game, though, is going to be interesting. That Sacramento Kings team, I know that history tells you what they will be at the end of the year, but right now they are absolutely as hot as they possibly could be. Harrison Barnes has been fantastic. A lot of those guys in that start, Domantas Sabonis has been great. Kevin Huerter at this point in the year.
Roster.
Go ahead and look right now, 49.5% from three, and he has shot the most and made the most threes on that Kings team. They have a lot of different ways to produce offense, and that's why over the last 6 games they have just been
Does Mike Brown deserve credit, or is it just finally due for the Kings?
I am just predisposed to believe. I guess Mike Brown gets a little bit of credit, sure. But I am just predisposed to believe that the Kings are just going to be by the time we get to actual playoff positioning time. I mean, they've had good rosters. They have. I talked about it last year. That roster was built to go potentially be in the play-in.
Horrible owner.
I guess so, yes. But I don't get how these rosters have failed in the past.
I mean, the owner is Elon Musk without the personality.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I'm trying to go deep.
No, it's not. No, it's not disgusting. No, it's not disgusting at all. The best barbecue in Memphis. Slow smoke Memphis style barbecue, and you can get it at Central Barbecue. I don't know if they're gonna like that I said no, it's not disgusting, and then got into Central Barbecue. But hey, it is what it is. There's 5 locations, you know about them. Midtown on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, the one on Poplar that I always frequent, and the other one at South Haven on Getwell Road. So you can go to all of those locations and get whatever it is that pleases you when it comes to good barbecue. You can start with those chicken wings, those slow smoked chicken wings. They're so good. You can get mild, you can get dry rub, you can get the mild sauce, you can get the honey gold. They have all of it there for you, and the flavor on those is going to be great. The smoked turkey is what I always get, whether it's on a plate or on a bun. They have pulled pork, they have chicken, whatever your heart desires. They have the sides. They have gluten-free and vegetarian options. You can get the greens, the beans, the slaw, whatever. Again, your heart desires. And finished, by the way, banana pudding. Some of the best in town. It's just like grandma or mom makes it. Go get that banana pudding to cap off that great meal. Now, if you want to send that barbecue anywhere in the U.S. of A., it's very simple. ETBQ.com, click that shipping tab, and you can send that during the holidays to people in your extended family that don't, or friends, for that matter, that don't get to get that barbecue year-round like we get to get. And also, catering, 15 or more people, home, office, simple. Here's the number, 901-527-9990. Again, 901-527-9990 for catering for 15 or more people from Central Barbecue. But again, those locations, 5 in the area. Midtown on Central Avenue, that's the original. Downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer. The one on Poplar, and then the one on Getwell Road in South Haven. Make it down to Central Barbecue, where smoke is their sauce. Hour number 3 is on the way after this break. And joining us next, Omar Sean.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Whether it's a small clog or a large sewer main drain issue, the experienced technicians at Conway Services are ready to solve all your drain problems. For a limited time, take advantage of our 93 or it's free drain clearing special. That's right, $93 or it's free. If we can't clear it, you don't pay.
License number 64210, 64365, EAS MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Biscuits and Jams is the best new restaurant in the Mid-South. Their shrimp and crawfish Creole Benedict has been named one of the best one-of-a-kind breakfast dishes by the Commercial Appeal. Biscuits and Jam's secret is homemade food with local ingredients. You can't get any better for breakfast, brunch, and lunch. Biscuits and Jams, open 8 to 2 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 3 Saturday and Sunday at 5806 Stage Road. For delicious, local, homemade food, Biscuits and Jams is simply the best.
Friday, the biggest World Cup showdown kicks off on Fox.
Oh, my goodness!
Christian Pulisic leads the Stars and Stripes.
What can this kid do?
Against the unstoppable Harry Kane and global powerhouse England.
What a night!
Team USA face their toughest test of the tournament with everything on the line and a chance to shock the world.
That is magnificent!
USA, England. Coverage begins Friday at 1 Eastern on Fox.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop, here on Sports 56. Real sports talk.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Let's talk some numbers here.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I used to feel so devastated. At times I thought we never make it.
Back rolling, hour number 3 on a Tuesday is here of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Brian Dakes, of course, producing the program in the producer's booth, doing a great job on the ones and twos. Hit us up with this last hour. Listener line's there for you, 901-360-8255. Text us your questions, comments, concerns. Also, watch us live, see our bright, smiling faces, and message us on our socials, Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And go to our website, sports56whbq.com. Without further ado, let's bring on our guy on the NFL. It's Bo Marchant, at Bo Marchant on Twitter, from collegeofpro.com and from Sports Illustrated. Bo, how is it going, man? Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, gentlemen. Hope the day's treating you well, and I hope this weekend treats you even better.
Mm-hmm. And don't look now, not here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Bill Belichick.
Well, I don't know if it's Bill Belichick. Zach Wilson should get the brunt of the dysfunction for the New York Jets this weekend. He could be, but I think the end of the game that I think a lot of people missed was, their punter not punting it out of bounds. I mean, the absolute foulest thing you could do. I mean, if you put the ball out of bounds, you're basically guaranteed overtime. And he punted it right down the middle of the field, and we saw what happened. A atrocious way to lose a game. We don't know how it's overtime, but to lose like that in that fashion, that's just a gut-wrenching loss for the New York Jets.
It's gut-wrenching, but at the same time, it may have exposed some things behind the scenes with that quarterback room that we needed to know. And it's Zach Wilson. I mean, that was atrocious. Atrocious.
It was.
And it's been atrocious all year, Bo, and you've been saying that, and so have I.
But doesn't Robert Saleh have to take some heat for staying with Zach Wilson and allowing the punter to kick it down the middle of the field?
That's what, those are the questions, and I understand. I mean, he's a high draft pick. You don't know if you want to give it to Mike Reeder back.
Number 2 overall. I mean,
yeah, I get that. And he missed a lot of time last year. He came in late this year, coming off injury. I think his first start was week 4. So you don't want to put too much of the burden or the blame on him. But I think we all know, the pushback that, from his attitude, the way that Garrett Wilson went off. We already know Elijah Moore is very disgruntled for his lack of involvement in the offense. And with Breece Hall going down, they're lacking that explosive running game. And without that, and you do have some talented pieces in Moore and Wilson. And the only guy that can get that ball at this point is Wilson. And the sad thing is, I mean, it's no secret, that defense is phenomenal.
Awesome.
It's such a good defense. And to think
young.
that they're kind of young, and the way that they're playing, and to think that it's so dysfunctional at the quarterback position for the New York Jets that they're going to wallow in the mire, if you will, until they figure it out.
Even more so than the actual play on the field, that response of no, in regards to if he felt like he let the defense down with 2 yards in the second half, that was more atrocious. That really rubbed me the wrong way, Bo. Being in locker rooms, dealing with guys, these are grown men in the NFL that are fighting for playoff positioning, fighting for those playoff bonuses, doing all these things. This is a 6-4 Jets team that has a chance to actually make the playoffs this year. And for your quarterback, that young guy that hasn't done anything, that hasn't earned his stripes, to have that attitude, that is overly telling about who he is at this moment.
But we knew 50 years ago when they moved on from Joe Namath, about 47 years ago, when they moved on from Joe Namath and let him go late in his career to the Rams, we knew Broadway Joe was going to be hard to replace. I brought it up because I wanted to see the names. So Joe Namath is still the all-time leading passing yardage leader and touchdown leader with the New York Jets. Second in yardage, Ken O'Brien. Third, Richard Todd. 4, Chad Pennington. 5, Vincenzo Testaverde. 6, Mark Sanchez. Boomer Esiason, 7th in yardage. And if you don't think they're bad, 8th is Sam Darnold.
That is an amazing stats. I would have actually thought Ken O'Brien, because he had a decent career. I mean, Joe Namath is a Hall of Famer, so I'm talking. But I just, in terms of the way that the ball has kind of been going to the air, even from the time that Namath played, and I know he was exceptional at passing the ball when it was a run league. But those are amazing stats. And you look at this point, you think that they have to go back to the well again, or go out in free agency, or make a trade and bring in a Garoppolo or Trey Lance. Who knows, depending on what the 49ers do. But you guys know it. I thought Zach Wilson's play against the Steelers when they came to Pittsburgh was one of the worst games I've seen by a quarterback. And it's not all the technical thing. It's just missing a guy wide open, and then you add to his demeanor, and that's the disappointment. Spending all the years with Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh, no matter if he was at fault or if he had no fault,
it's always
in the
the quarterback's fault.
Lost, he always walked into that room, went to the podium, and said, "Listen, it's me, and I got to be better." And even if he would have thrown for 450, completed 25 of 26 passes for 4 touchdowns, he would have said, "I have to do better." He wouldn't have put the blame on the defense or anybody else. And And this is where a young guy, especially playing in a city like New York, you think he would have been a bit more attuned to how to approach it and deal with it. But what we're hearing, I think we all hear the same stuff, is he's brash, he's a little bit inconsiderate, he kind of taunts the media, talks down to them as if he is, the Lord and Savior of the football room, and now we kind of see that.
Yeah, bad town to do that.
It is the wrong town.
And when you haven't earned a single stripe on the field, you haven't done anything.
They buy by the barrels, and they got a lot of antennas.
I heard Rex Ryan today on Get Up talking about this situation, and he said, it feels similar to the talent that we had when he was with the Jets, AFC championships back to back, and they lost, of course, but he goes, it feels like the talent we had on the defensive side of the ball, but Mark Sanchez was the quarterback. And he goes, Mark Sanchez is 3 times the quarterback that Zach Wilson is. And I agree with
franchise.
that. For the Jets.
No, I agree. Yeah, 100%. I would take Mark Sanchez over Zach Wilson 1,000 times over at this point.
I take Brady Quinn.
Yeah.
Probably so.
It is. It's sad because the Jets are really an up and coming team.
I take Spurgeon wins.
Oh, jeez.
Did you buy into the Zach Wilson hype as a prospect?
I did. I mean, I liked them. But coming out, you like all these guys, or I guess you don't. I mean,
we really do.
Guys.
We like Jake Locker. We like Christian Ponder. Right. We really do, Bo. We like them all.
I do, and I like Zach Wilson. I didn't dislike him. I know there's other prospects out there that I've liked more or liked less.
We love Jamarcus Russell.
Right. Go ahead.
But he flashed. But he flashed. I mean, that's why he was drafted as high as he was. But at the end of the day, I guess you got to, Ty Detmer, and then you go back to Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon proved he could do it. Detmer didn't, and these BYU quarterbacks. So, it goes back into the who you played, how well you
Steve
did.
Young did it.
Yeah,
From
Steve
BYU.
Young. My bad. Steve Young did it, and it's tricky because it is. You'd never know. I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, what did I really think about Zach Wilson when he was coming out? And if you hit it right, and these guys know so much more. Just like at the Steelers game Sunday. I was talking to one of the scouts because I was at a couple MAC games over the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. We started talking about a couple guys. And the intel that they have, I mean, they're like the Secret Service, FBI, CIA, everybody rolled into one. And he said 3 words, and he knew more about this guy than I did, studying him for, 6 months. They just have that intel. So, these teams, it's a crapshoot. We know that. I mean, if Zach Wilson wasn't taken by the Jets, somebody else in that top 10 would have taken him or moved up to get him. It just happens to be that at this point, after I think he's played, 20, he started 20 games in the National Football League. You'd have to say that he's definitely leaning towards the side of going into the bust column at this point. And unless things change quickly, and Robert Saleh, he hasn't announced the starter. Does he bench him and then go back to him later in another point? So there's a lot going on in New York, and it's sad because everything looks so bright. I mean, it's the Jets that they're winning, and even if they would have had an ounce of offense this past weekend, maybe you could have said, hey, you know what, let this go. But as you guys mentioned at the top of the show, it could be a blessing in disguise that, he acted the way he did. The performance was the way it was, and now that coaching staff is probably, scratching their head saying, what direction do we go this weekend? Do we stick with this kid?
He's close to being the Memphis Showboats' first quarterback. Come April of 2023.
There's potential. I really think. Because in this day and age, Bo, just like us, I mean, even though he's a number 2 overall pick, the way that rookie scale contracts work and the way that they're locked in for long term, even though the money's not that insane, like the Jets could easily just say, eat that loss.
We're
basically.
Done.
We'll move on.
And Bo, we'll have him on in April, and I'll go, Zach, didn't work out in New York. We're glad to have you in Memphis.
and we just thought you got the rawest deal. We all believed you.
Yeah. We always sung your praises. We thought
we have a Tuesday guest that really plugged in on the draft. He couldn't stand you.
Nice. Now, real quick, AFC East to AFC West. AFC West is a more or less a disappointment, let's be honest. Raiders and Broncos especially. I was thinking about this the other day. Preseason, I think for good reasons, free agent acquisitions, trades. We had hype on this this division. I mean, Justin Herbert with the Chargers, Derek Carr getting Devontae Adams, Russell Wilson going to the Broncos with what they already had. But at the same time, I started to sit back and realize coaching. Well, look at the coaching in this division. Outside of Andy Reid, you have Brandon Staley, Josh McDaniels, who's not been good at his previous stop in the NFL, and Nathaniel Hackett, which we didn't really know about preseason, but we see now. It's unbelievable. The coaching does not match the talent in this division, and that's why it's been such a disappointment.
That is one of the most brilliant takes that I've heard. Yeah, we all got snookered. We forgot. It's like getting, you're pickpocketed. You're enamored with something. You're watching the cards and the dice on the sidewalk, and then somebody's taking your wallet out your pocket. That's exactly, yeah. When you look at those coaches and the talent, what else can you say? I'm telling you right now, they've played well the last couple of weeks despite the losses, the Chargers, but I am off the Chargers. If they could win their next 5, and I'm still going to be very anti.
They're too hurt, and Brandon Staley doesn't give me
They're going to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row with Justin Herbert. How you doing?
And it's a travesty to think that a talent like that in Herbert, because he's a gamer. I mean, he gets after it. And then you look at the other two teams. Nathaniel Hackett, I don't know if he's going to last a year, and I'd be surprised with 3-7 that the way that they're playing if he's not.
Call the realtor.
Yeah, and then Josh, I just think because of his background, I do think he'll get at least another season in Las Vegas to kind of turn around what they're trying to do.
I don't know. It's crazy, Mark Davis.
Here's the thing: it's crazy, Mark Davis, but Mark Davis realizes what we realize. They're cash poor right now. Like they're not a cash-strapped team that can just go spend and fire and pay buyouts and stuff like that. They're not really. I mean, they traded Khalil Mack because of a money situation, got all those draft picks because of a money situation,
They got that money printing machine in Vegas. They just got to get their hands on it.
I guess so, but you could probably speak to that, Bo. They're not necessarily a rich team in the grand scheme of things.
No, they might not have the deepest pockets maybe to some of these other teams, but I think they're on their way. And the one thing I was very poignant in my disapproval of the Khalil Mack trade because they talked about money, and then they make a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers and hand $100 million to some receiver, but they couldn't re-sign Khalil Mack. So I think it's like any company. When they want to find the money, they'll find it, and if they don't want to pay you, they'll just say, hey, the funds aren't there. But, hey, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. The Raiders, it's weird. They waived Jonathan Abrams, one of their first-round picks, and you look at this draft class, a couple of years back, it's completely, all the Khalil Mack, bounty is gone. And now you're left with the defense trying to search for itself. And the funny thing is, if you look at the Raiders, I mean, the offense has had their struggles, but at least they do perform. The defense has been really, really bad. And, if you could combine the Raiders offense with the Broncos defense, you might have a challenger to the Buffalo Bills. It just happens to be that, these are two different teams with two different very, very good strengths. I think, for the Raiders, it's the offense. The defense is lousy and vice versa. You have an absent T offense in Denver, but a very, very stout and a tough defense to play against for the Broncos. So, but that's the way it goes.
That flame that burns outside of Allegiant Stadium in honor of Al Davis, keeping his memory alive. The flame burns forever for him, and it does, because he was one of the geniuses of all time in anything, but especially in professional football. Someday for Mark Davis, there'll be a little Bic lighter out there burning for him.
Brett, you got like a comedy. You're just firing them tonight. I love it.
I mean, but Mark Davis is like a lot of sons of famous people. I guarantee you, most of his life, he's wondered, do these people really like me because I'm Mark, or they like me because I'm Al Davis's son? And he has to know he largely is in that corner office because of who his very famous dad was, and to pull off ownership like he did, it's not anything he's accomplished.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. We've talked about the Al Davis so much. You're talking about a guy whose DNA was woven into the ideology of football. That's the only thing he slept, dreamed about was football.
One of the 4 or 5
Football.
most important people in history of the National Football League.
Yeah, and it's clear. It's hard to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be more dedicated to the game or more of a pioneer to the game of football than Al Davis or a George Halas or a Paul Brown. Those guys, they're pioneers. But Mark Davis, I think he comes off as a guy who, a little, what are the words I'm looking for?
Good time, Charlie.
Yeah, good time, Charlie. Exactly.
I
I
don't trust a guy with that much money who has a haircut like that. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
You just can't. No, you just can't. Because he doesn't own a mirror. Just get in the elevator and look at yourself.
I can't believe. I mean, you could go get $1,000 cut if you want. And he's sitting there with that on his head. That's
Boy, he needs a refund.
Yeah, if I was a free agent, I might be like, you know what, I'm not signing with the Raiders just because of his haircut.
Right.
I refuse.
Yeah, you got to do something with that.
Yeah, please fix that, and I'll sign with you. Bo, who owns the NFC?
Are we that sure Josh McDaniels comes back?
I
think so.
I do. I just think of his background. Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have the resume, I think, of a Josh McDaniels. I just think you have to give him one more year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think he inherited a lot. There's a lot to take on from last year. Gruden and Mike Mayock, the drafts that they put together, we know that they've been very foul. So I just think there's a lot. The team isn't performing, but again, that defense is it's a sinking ship in terms of it. It's taken on so much water defensively. It's hard to say that Josh McDaniel, an offensive-minded guy, could do much, especially as Gabe said. It's not like they have the ability to just go out and sign these big free agents. You've got to really, really rely on your scouting department, to bring in some guys and find those very cheap free agents that can kind of make a difference to help that defense get better.
Bo, who owns the NFC right now, in your opinion?
I still think it's the Eagles, and I know they, since Houston, they kind of had their, a slow first half. They came on in the second half, and then they got beat by Washington, and then they had their struggles against the Colts. But 14 points in the fourth quarter against Indianapolis, I thought that was just a good sign. I think all teams that are having great seasons, you always have that little hump, that little the valley, I guess. You're riding high and you have you miss a beat. The one thing is, I think they had in the first 7 games they had 3 turnovers. In the last 3, they've had 6 turnovers. So I think ball security is something
and that rush defense. It's been gash. Now they do have the long wait until Sunday night to play again at home, and this has to be the last best chance for the Packers to save a season, isn't it? But can they save it?
Yeah, I think they can. They're 4-7. Just say if they win, they're 5-7. I'm looking at the standings right now. Let's just say the other teams. Would you be shocked if the Giants don't win another game? I'm just saying, would you be shocked?
I wouldn't be.
No. Yeah. Detroit, I think the Packers are better than the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, the Falcons, the Saints, even the Buccaneers, the Panthers. Then you look at the Seahawks. I think that's a ship that's going to start turning around. 6-4. I think in 4 weeks, it's going to be under 500. The Cardinals and the Rams are a mess. So I think the Packers are, even if they go in with the losing record, I think they're still in shape for a wild card, just because besides the top tier teams, I think when you're looking at, I think the Niners are continuing to distance themselves, the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Vikings are playing, I know they, lost, they're appear much better than everybody else mentioned. So I totally think that the Packers can be a playoff team. And as you mentioned, Sunday night will be a critical game. 5-7, they will be right in the hunt with all these other teams vying for a wild card spot.
Cowboys beat the Vikings 40-3. I have made my statement on it, and I've been again. I think the guy said I'm not driving a bus anymore. I'm now over to the little jet. So I'm piloting a little jet for the
We're
Cowboys.
We're getting close to Gabe being under the left seat of the space shuttle.
How close do you think they are, or do you think they already are Super Bowl contenders, grand scheme of things, in the NFC?
The Cowboys?
Cowboys.
I think they're there. I think they have to be mentioned with everybody else in the NFC. The defense is phenomenal, and Zach, that team, Pollard is kind of really. We know he's been emerging, but I think they finally have it dialed in how to best use him and Zeke at the same time. we know Zeke is the guy that's just going to pound and wear you down, and then you got this mega little super bolt of lightning and fast speed and big play and Tony Pollard, and you just have Dak Prescott doing his thing. And if we saw the news, Jerry Jones said Odell Beckham would be in for a visit. If Odell Beckham's healthy and he's the guy that we saw prior to his injury in the Super Bowl, that really amps up what the Cowboys are going to be doing offensively. We know how potent that offensive attack was when they had Cooper and they had Lamb and they had and Gallup, and they were very, very, very powerful. So I think the Cowboys are right there. And the thing is, they have a defense, and Micah Parsons, arguably the defensive player of the year, defensive MVP, if you will. When you have a guy like that on the defensive side and the way that they're playing, along with an offense that can score, I think I would be foolish to say that they're not a legit Super Bowl contender. And I put it in the tweet prior to the show. I've had the Eagles and the Bills solo basically till this week and what we're going into Week 11. And I finally added the Cowboys and the rising Niners as some competition for Philly as they vie for that NFC title.
And how about this? You win the timing award on the OBJ discussion. Dallas Cowboys official Twitter puts out, "It's your move, OBJ," and tagged him. And they tweet. So we'll see. We'll see if it can happen. I know Brian Dacus. I know our producer's looking at me right now. He's
just got very excited.
his ears perked up for that one. But, Bo, always appreciate it, man. Great conversation as always, and you have a good Thanksgiving.
Enjoy the holiday.
Yes, sir. You guys do as well.
Thank you, Bo. Bo Marchant with us every Tuesday, talking the National Football League. This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area, where all the cars are test-driven and thoroughly examined, checked out bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car that you want just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment, no high-pressure sales, the opposite of that. They care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a world today that time really matters. That's why you find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're out of there in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now during the holiday season. Visit them online and check out all the referrals at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
About 30 minutes left in the show. Stick with us on Sports 56 98.5.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get ready for your holiday road trip in a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike. How about 41 MPG Highway? Get it in 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $289 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. Or get a thrill for real in 2023 Kia K5 LXS. $365 a month, 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. And if you don't see what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order you a new ride today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Forte PE 543,577, MSRP 22,335, K5 PG 186,690, MSRP 27,765. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/22. With approved credit, dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, What are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with the promo code HAPPY so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code HAPPY. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town. Grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, 225 Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to BigGreenEgg.com.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston for QC Kinetics. Remember the guy for the hair club of men who would say, I'm not just the president, but I'm a client. Well, I'm not just a spokesman, but I'm a client of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine. It's a remedy for all the joint pain you're dealing with in the hips, shoulder, elbows, wherever it may be, pain from injury or arthritis. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue and do so without surgery, drugs, or downtime. And in my business, I can't afford downtime. QC Kinetics is also an alternative way for those dealing with pain caused by injury like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff injury, which is what I'm dealing with. So don't keep living with that pain. Do what I'm doing, getting relief from QC Kinetics. Call for a free consultation today. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
I got to tell you, man, I was worried.
Worried about what?
Since I'm the Central Barbecue spokesperson.
We're really the spokespeople.
As a Central Barbecue spokesperson, I was letting people down because the Central Barbecue location on Central is closed for renovation. There are only 3 locations for people to get Central Barbecue.
I think people can get by with 3 locations.
No one cares what you think. Like I said, I was worried, but the people at Central Barbecue have solved the problem.
That didn't exist.
They've parked the Central Barbecue food truck at the Central Barbecue Central Avenue location. Everything is right with the world.
Everything was already fine.
I'll be the one that makes that decision.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it a little secret. I don't wish for my success, I speak it. I caught a buzz and you did too, but you tweaking. I look like I've been getting money, how reeking. You smell me, that's LV. Walk around with my chest out and my skin smooth, I'm healthy.
Back rolling on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Hit us up with these last 30 minutes. Listener line's there for you, 901-360-8255. Also watch us live and message us on our socials, Sports 56 WHPQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website, sports56whpq.com. Now we started the show, I should say, talking about Lane Kiffin and the report that Lane Kiffin has refuted from John Sokoloff, of course, of WCBI News. He's the sports director for WCBI, about him potentially leaving on Friday, stepping down at Ole Miss and becoming the Auburn head coach next. Lane Kiffin apparently has responded, of course, on Twitter, but he's also responded to his players. He had a meeting. He held a meeting today, and this was dropped by Chris Lowe, ESPN writer, around 4 o'clock. He had a meeting with his players and assured them that he has not accepted officially a job at another school. And he said he as a rule, and you know this, Brett, as a rule, normally he doesn't respond to coaching rumors, but Apparently today he felt as if he needed to get in front of his players and their parents and formally address what was out there on the internet that they saw.
Yeah, he's going to be on Rep Talk right after us at 6 o'clock tonight. He will be a guest at Boo Ray on the Oxford Square with David Kellum. Normally that's on Thursday night, but this week Tuesday's kind of Thursday. We know the drill with that with game week. And, Gabe, like I said earlier, I want everybody to get on the record. We know in this they have to have a yes before they offer the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have to know he's going to say yes. It's a little bit like hitting that knee in the engagement world. You got to know what that answer is. Auburn's going to insist. You tell us yes or no right now. If they say no, we never offered him. We were, we kicked the tires and we had the Zoom meeting.
Of course.
And they're going to run from it. Auburn fans are going to run from it. Just say you want him. If you get him, you got him. You wanted him, you got him. If you don't act like no. We were never hiring Lane Kiffin. No, not a chance.
I felt like last week there was a little bit of a distraction level that, and obviously you don't want to completely blame it on that. The issues they had against Arkansas. So I think there was something there. It's good by Lane Kiffin to try to get in front of his players, to try to reassure them at the moment. Because you do have the Egg Bowl coming up, and it's very important in the grand scheme of things to get to 9-3, to get to that 9-win season. I think would mean a lot to people around the program, yada yada. But I still fear. I've been in these situations before. Now, when Fuente left, when Justin Fuente left, there was no meeting before, even with rumors. There's no meeting before about I'm not leaving. So this tells me a little bit of something. He is saying he hasn't accepted another job, but he's not necessarily denying that it's up there. Like that he probably behind the scenes between him and his agent, they're trying to negotiate a deal or the best deal for him. That's sort of what this says to me. I'm curious how this all figures itself out, though.
What do you think the Auburn list looks like? What do you think John Cohen's 1, 2, 3, and 4 list looks like?
I'd imagine Lane Kiffin 1.
I agree.
2, it becomes tough after this because you sort of wonder who actually has been reached out to. I think there's a lot of guys that wouldn't actually take the job that would be number 2. But for me, if I'm looking at it, it looks like Lane Kiffin 1, Hugh Freeze 2. Like that seems like the most obvious answer to their problems, to what they want to get done. Those are the 2 guys that seem that they would fit the best.
On his list, where do you think he has Mike Leach? What number would you have to get down to?
Way down. That doesn't.
Isn't that a scathing indictment to state fans of what he thinks they have as football coach?
Yes and no. I just you've seen what he's done at Mississippi State, and he's had success in his career. There's no question. But
what is he? 18 and
no
16
offense,
at State.
And this is by no means do I mean offense to Mississippi State. It's going to come across that way though to Mississippi State fans. The ceiling is higher at Auburn, and especially when you consider what they've done in the past. And I feel like going to that type of offense and putting Mike Leach at the head of that doesn't make sense with where they could potentially be in regards to sort of a normal, at least a little bit of a more normal spread offense, not just consistent air raid. I think they can aim higher than a guy like Mike Leach at this moment.
Our friend Brian Haydad, that co-hosts with Richard Cross and Michael Borky on Sports Talk Mississippi, and they were at the desk by us at SEC Media Days, and Brian's very frequent guest on this station with Greg and Eli, been on with us, and he is candid. He is pro-state through and through. He'll tell you that in a second, but he can really call balls and strikes, I think, very well. Almost a model for a lot of people out there. He says that he thinks if Mike Leach loses Thursday night to drop to 0-3 against Ole Miss, 3 straight Egg Bowl losses, it officially puts him on the clock for 2023.
Well, I think so too. And here's the thing. If we know anything about the Mike Leach timeline, you have to have a quarterback that's been experienced in his system. Will Rogers is experienced as a quarterback in his system that you could possibly have. And by the time you get to year 3, year 4 with a guy like that, you want to really take advantage. 8-4 is 8-4 taking advantage of that clock, right? Like Will Rogers, what he's been for that school, what he's done in growing up in that Mike Leach system, is 8-4 enough? Grand scheme of things, by the time you get him to his most experienced point with the defense they have in Zach Arnett, I wonder the thought process behind the scenes there.
It's a really good time on this subject matter to remind everybody around this time of year.
7-5 is what he would have.
What we thought in the preseason. I had Ole Miss going 8-4 in the preseason.
Right.
We can get the tape out. We can rerun it. I did it in every interview. I got the sheet here to prove it. I can prove to you I had Ole Miss 8-4 in the preseason. If they lose Thursday night, guess what they go? In the preseason, I had Mississippi State 6-6. If they lose Thursday night, not far off. If they win Thursday night, I'm way off. In the preseason, I had Arkansas going 7-5. If they win Friday afternoon in Columbia, guess what they go? Gabe in the preseason had Ole Miss 7-5. Gabe in the preseason had State 5-7. In the preseason, had the Razorbacks 10-2. Brian in the preseason had the Razorbacks 10-2. Had Ole Miss 10-2. Had State 5-7. So that's where we all were in August, and this is where we are now with the season almost completed. We'll do this full autopsy next weekend and the week after for American and SEC, and Texas A&M blew me to smithereens. I mean, I got more red X's down that A&M line than anywhere.
Yeah. Well, A&M was just so bad.
Me and 10-2 A&M. I knew better.
So
I said it. We can get that tape out. I said it. I said, I know better than this.
Curious, though, back to my Mississippi State question. 8-4 at the peak of Will Rogers' powers. Does that really excite the Mississippi State fan base? Does that galvanize them and think, okay, we're headed in a great direction? Because once Will Rogers,
it would be the sugar high of Thursday night of beating Ole Miss, but when into the off season,
you start to have these conversations about
are we really maxing out?
Can we get better?
Is this max out?
Because again, it's a timeline with quarterbacks in Mike Leach's system. Year 1 is not great. Year 2 is better. Year 3 should be better or best. Year 4, senior should be best.
The guy getting ready to make the hire at Auburn, he has said that it's his hire. Okay, we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that. We're going to take that man's word. Last 2 football coaches he hired was Pirate and Jomo.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Auburn fans deal with that, right? I can't imagine that they would deal with something like that very well. But I don't know how this ends, but it definitely feels. What seriously? What's your confidence level if Lane Kiffin stays in Ole Miss? Curious.
Very high.
Very high. Okay. I still have no idea which way. I don't know which way I lean right now. I still am.
And if he should leave, I would say thank you for the great job, and it was a great job. The relevance you brought Ole Miss when we were down and out, humiliated after the leg hiking, State Egg Bowl loss, the having to fire Matt Luke, one of the all-time favorite players by a lot of people in his playing days. But I would say this: Lane Kiffin has shown, just like Hugh Freeze showed in his high points, three out of the last 4 Ole Miss coaches have taken Ole Miss to really great bowls. Houston Nutt, back-to-back Cotton Bowls. Hugh Freeze, New Year's 6 bowls against TCU in the Peach Bowl and winning the Sugar Bowl, and Lane Kiffin last year to the Sugar Bowl. So the 3 of the last 4 and 2 of the 3 in the college football playoff era have shown it can be done at Ole Miss.
I know
with the right guy.
I know you're fair about these things. Coach moves on, make the decision that's best for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's
his business.
I
don't own that, man.
I sort of wonder rest of the fan base after if he does make this jump to Auburn after denying it and going after John Sokoloff, if he ends up still accepting a job and there's a press conference on Friday, I just sort of that's not a good taste to leave in.
Well, I don't think it'd be Friday
mouths.
before the
right,
Iron Bowl.
but you get
but Sunday afternoon,
right?
The breaking news.
I
tweet.
can't imagine that's the taste you want to leave in Ole Miss fans.
No, it's
mouth.
not. And added to in the NIL era, not only Lane Kiffin leaving, with the very real specter of Quinshon Judkins going back home too.
Yes, and that would really bother people.
I mean, if you think Tommy Tuberville stung in '98, imagine Tommy Tuberville leaving with Deuce McAllister.
Yeah, that would be brutal. I wonder what, like, grand scheme of things, I know that Auburn has a lot of money that they're sitting on. They have a lot of boosters that are willing to throw out in the NIL collectives. Ole Miss, though, the growth we've seen the past few years, I mean, it's behind, and I think it will generally always be behind, but it's not as far behind as people lead us to believe.
Walker Jones is going to be on with us pregame Thursday afternoon. We come on these airwaves at 4:00. He's done a great job at the Grove Collective. These rumors have been the best fundraising ploy ever.
Right.
It's been magical.
Right. And that helps, again, if Lane Kiffin does leave. Another coach would be willing to take that job. And jump in real quick before we get to our final break of the day. College football playoff rankings come out tonight. I can't imagine we'll see any difference in the top four. It'll be Georgia,
your explosion.
Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. Outside of that, I'm curious to see how this figures itself out. Last time it was Tennessee, LSU, USC, Bama, Clemson, Utah. Tennessee's going to drop out.
Tennessee fans don't even want to watch tonight, do they?
Here's my question that I feel coming tonight. I feel this happening. Does USC jump LSU to 5?
They should.
I think they should. Based on LSU over UAB, USC over UCLA.
One's got 2 losses. One's got 1. This is math, isn't it?
But LSU, big win over Bama, still in the back of people's heads. I'd imagine USC jumps Clemson.
2 losses.
Clemson, how high do they jump? Are they behind LSU? Do they somehow get themselves in front of LSU? This is going to be I'm curious how the committee figures it out tonight. And all my complaints, you bet. Oh, I am just unloading. I am unloading.
I've got good news and I've got bad news from the commissary, the Collierville commissary and the Germantown commissary. If you missed out on the turkey for the holiday special for Thanksgiving, you've missed out if you haven't ordered. But you can get on the list right now and get ahead of everyone for Christmas time, because everybody that got on the list for Thanksgiving, that's got those turkeys, that ordered those, they're going to do it again at Christmas. And Walker, he texted me last night at a turkey, but they still have the great hams. And that would make the meal just outstanding, with the homemade cornbread dressing, the gravy, the cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls, butter, plates, utensils, all the sides. If you're planning on eating any of the items for Thanksgiving, you better order right now and get out there either tonight or tomorrow afternoon for the hams. But the turkeys are gone for this round of the holidays, but we got another round of the holidays. So if you can't have, you can have the turkey. They've gotten them all. But you can always have the Memphis-style barbecue that's made the commissary so famous, made Memphis so famous, and the commissary primary to that, either the Collierville commissary, Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown with all that family coming in. You might want to go out tonight, right now. You're going to eat at home enough? Let's go to either place. Nice enough to get out on the patio tonight at the Collierville commissary, and those desserts so good, all the sides so good, the ribs, the shoulder, the nachos, the chicken wings. And if you're craving an easier way to order, you can text right now, 33733. 901-754-5540 is the phone number. Online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and in Germantown.
Let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning.
If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai, state-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla.
with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is there's a guy on the University of Georgia football team that is pretty good, that is finally getting a whole lot of recognition when it comes to the national scene. And he's gotten a little bit. But Brock Bowers is a finalist for 2 different awards. One, the Rotary Lombardi Award, which is the best lineman, and he's a tight end, and also for the best wide receiver. He has also been listed as a finalist for the Bolitnikoff Award. This guy's just so tremendously talented, and he's been doing it for Stetson Bennett. This Georgia team is loaded, and he's part of the reason they are.
Did you see the game day story on his upbringing? Grew up in Napa Valley.
How about it?
Not associated with football country.
Wine country, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
Brock Bowers. What I learned today, Dallas better win the NFC East if they expect a deep playoff run. If they don't, they at best will be the 5 seed. Well, we know what that means. That means mostly on the road, if not entirely on the road. Today they would be at Tampa Bay if they win, at Philly, and then at Minnesota, and then Super Bowl 57 in Phoenix. They're not good enough to bat 1,000 in the playoffs like that.
Mm-hmm. What I could have done without, well, first of all, Darrell Henderson Jr. getting waived by the Rams. The fact that Cam Akers is the one who's been making a fuss, and Darrell Henderson Jr. has to bear the brunt of all of that fuss, and no O-line, and he has to get waived. That's just nasty to me. But regardless, what I really could have done without Brett McMurphy, who I think is a really good reporter. I saw him at SEC Media Days. I mean, he is a good reporter from the Action Network. But he tweeted today, there's one potential obstacle for Deion Sanders being hired at the FBS level, and he cited an anonymous source, and he said this anonymous source said it's the multiple academic and financial issues that surround Sanders' failed Prime Prep Academy, and it's at the front of every president's mind. Well, how about we talk about all the people behind the scenes in schools that misrepresent and misuse money?
If you don't want to hire him, just say so. Don't go bogus.
Yes, if you don't want to hire him, don't do this nastiness. And I think we need to start normalizing. Stop giving these anonymous sources the time of day. This is stupid. And also, last time I checked, he's coaching football. Last time I checked, he is coaching football. He's
in the NIL era.
He's not making decisions on money behind the scenes unless it has to do with NIL.
I mean, this ain't merry-go-round.
And also, last time I checked, think of all the bad grades, the transgressions, the crime that was there during Urban Meyer's tenure at Florida. Yes, he got hired next. He got hired at Ohio State. There was no issue there. There's a lot of coaches with baggage that they dealt with in their lives before coaching.
Paging Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze, and he's still going to get an opportunity. But no, Deion Sanders can't get hired because of Prime Prep Academy and how much of a joke it was. Get out of here. That's
if you
just
don't want to
foolish.
hire him, just say it. Man, don't go that kind of the psyops game.
And Brett, I think Brett McMurphy's a good reporter. I do. But that right there, I think, is bad reporting. That's nasty. You should not put that to your name.
I think Brett McMurphy's a good reporter too, but I'm going to say it. I think he carries a lot of water for the quotes here, traditions.
Correct.
Could have done that. It's always funny when people are exactly who they are. FIFA is shocked. Qatar is going all Qatar on us. Of course Qatar's acting like Qatar. They took the blood money. Don't be shocked, and please don't be so indignant. Same for football coaches.
Oh, my gosh. Qatar acting like Qatar.
Qatar going Qatar
Who
on
knew?
us.
Who knew?
I wouldn't know. Who saw that coming?
Tonight, what we're looking forward to, Grizzlies versus Kings at FedEx Forum. Also some action. Keep your eyes on the action. Ball State, Miami of Ohio, both
college
of those
football
teams.
Playoffs. Your brain explodes tonight.
Yep. I get to go on at G_Coon71.
Razorbacks Creighton, the Eddie Sutton Bowl.
How about it? But
Eddie Sutton coached it both.
Hey, big game at 6 o'clock. Ball State, Miami of Ohio. Both teams playing for bowl eligibility on the final game of the year.
Tomorrow morning, before we talk again, 11 o'clock, NC State and KU play.
How about it? But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. But for Brian, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Be easy, stay safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director